Hey, what's up, all you beautiful people? Hope you're all having a great day today. And I thank you all for joining me today for the Brian Kohberger hearing. It is a wonderful day, and I'm happy to be here with you all. So, like it says in the title, we're jumping into the University of Idaho for Ryan Kohberger's hearing. Thank you so much for joining me. And as I always say, let's get this show on the road. Here we go. Hey. What is up? Welcome back, guys. Great to see you guys today. Once again, super happy to be here with you guys. I hope you're all having a great day so far. And I hope you all had a wonderful night last night. Thank you guys for joining me last night. Once again, um, you are appreciated so very much. I hope you all had a wonderful night. And I hope everybody's happy, healthy, and living their best life. Welcome back. It's great to see you all. As you all know, today we're jumping into the new hearing. Should be a scheduling hearing, and they're going to be looking at who is allowed to see what with the IgG material. So we're going to be going live from Mr. Judge John Judge, his chamber, the courtroom on his YouTube channel. Um, at 1 p.m. their time in Idaho, so it should be uh I think around 4 here, so give or take a minute or so. Hopefully it all works right today and we can get right in there with it, no problem. So thanks for joining me. I don't know if Mama Bear said something about being off today at a certain time. She might be able to jump in here with us. I'm not 100% sure. Let me see something here. She might. Yeah, she was working and then was leaving work, and so we should be seeing her hopefully. She'll probably jump in here and try to scare the living doo doo out of me, which is possible. But it'll be nice to have her here. Excuse me. So let's see who we got here with us, gracing us with their amazing presence. Looks like Miss Wisdom Speaks, Miss Sherry, one of my awesome moderators in the house. Number 12, ciao to you. What's going on? Brandy B, another one of my awesome mods in the house. Thank you so much for joining us today, ladies. Sarah Laird, welcome back. Welcome. Great to see you. Misty Jane, thank you for joining me today. Appreciate you. Got me stumped. Great to see you again. Welcome back. Charlotte Gross, always a pleasure. Thank you for joining me. Harsh One, Shelly, True Crime. Welcome back to you. Great to see you. Miss SRB, thank you for joining us today. Appreciate you. Another mod, an awesome mod, Miss Val. Hope Floats is in the house. Thank you for joining us, Val. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you. Miss Kells. Whoa, that's an interesting icon. I see your eye. Welcome, Kells. Good to have you back. Hi, J Luna One. Welcome. Great to see you. Great to have you here. Thank you for joining us today. Always a pleasure. There's my Doodlebug. What's going on? Doodlebug's in the house. Good to see you, Doodle. Thank you for being here, dear. Appreciate you. Miss Gianna, thank you for joining us today. I appreciate you very much. Welcome back, Jody. Great to see you. I woke up in 1984. What is going on? Great to have you here. Thank you for joining us today. Pammy B, welcome back to you. Always a pleasure. Miss Tina B, what's going on? Good to see you. Groot is in the house. What's going on, Groot? Great to have you here. Great to see you. Kimberly KV, welcome back. Great to have you here. Always a pleasure. It's wonderful to see all these meatballs in the house. I love it. I love it. Noel, welcome back to you. Chad Button, what's going on, brother? Good to see you. Miss Josie West, welcome back to you. Cynthia Girardi, good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Tia, we'll call you Tia. Cynthia, welcome. Good to see you. Molly May, hey, hey. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. I see some new faces here. Love it, love it. Lisa Vallejo, welcome back. Always a pleasure to see you. Thank you for joining us today. El Bariqua, what's going on? Good to see you. Teresa, welcome back to you. Miss Pamela from over the pond, welcome back, dear. Good to see you. Polly Pepper. Licity J's in the house, guys. What's going on, Liz? Good to see you today. Donald D. Nice, what is up? Good to see ya. Come on in, everybody. Grab a chair. Get comfortable. Ashley 421, great to see you. Come on in. Make sure you're hitting that like button on the way in the door, if you will, please, and leave me a little bit of DNA if you could. Appreciate you very much. Come on in, everybody. David Clayton, what's up, brother? Good to see you. No, it's pretty cool, Kels, actually. I like it. Neat. Caught me off guard. Really cool. Love it, love it. There you go. Another Ohioan in the house. Gotta love it. The Buckeye State. Welcome, everybody. It is awesome to see you all. Chad Button, Sarah Laird, I said that. Brandy B, of course. Yeah, we got weird weather going on here too. It's warm and cold. We had tornado watches last night. All sorts of weird stuff, guys. It's crazy. Elliot Polot, good to see you. Good to have you here. I got you, brother. Hoosiers hail from where Hoosiers hail. I like that. That's pretty cool, bud. Miss Gad Degucci, welcome back to you. So we are all here to catch this hearing. El Nino effects. You gotta love it, right, Donald? Just to give you guys a little heads up, for those of you that like doing this with me and like being here, you might be excited. We're doing the hearing today. Of course, that's why we're here right now. I will be live at 8:30 again tonight for sure. It's already scheduled. For a new case that just dropped about an Amish woman found murdered, pregnant Amish woman found murdered in her home. We're going to be covering that tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be here or be square. It's an interesting story. Very curious about it too, because of the Amish community being the way it is. It's definitely a different scenario. So we're gonna be checking into that tonight, guys. 8:30 p.m. again. So if you're not doing nothing and you don't have no dates or nothing, join me if you will. Miss Cat K, welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight, dear. Candy Girl, good to see you as well. What state? It is out of Pennsylvania, Charlotte, Crawford County, PA. It wasn't in Ohio. It's close to here, though. I could get there very quickly. Ellison Lee, good to see you. So we'll be covering that tonight. CR, what is going on? It is horrible. Philip Hughes, my friend, great to see you, brother. Hope you're having a wonderful day today. Living the good life. Thank you for joining us. We got 109 people in here, guys, and you know what's coming. What? We only got 72 likes. Come on now. Let's make it match if we can. Please, 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 please pretend that you like me and get me out in the algorithm with this one if we can. Thank you to all my amazing, amazing moderators for joining us today. I appreciate you so very much. Once again, could not do this without you, and I am beyond grateful for all of you. Oh, I did see that list. I was reading that earlier. DNA testing that you linked includes Discord that can generate profile 90 minutes. Yes, I did see that. It's quite interesting to me, actually. Natalie Poole, thank you for joining us. Miss Jennifer, welcome back. Good to see you. No, Natalie, not everybody believes that he's guilty. I think he's innocent till proven guilty, and I'm on the fence as to whether I believe that he could be guilty. Innocent or guilty. We're kind of split in here, Natalie, and we welcome others' opinions. So don't worry that if you think he's guilty, you're not going to be banished or talked down upon. I do not allow that here. I try to keep it as an even keel as I can, and everybody has the opportunity to express their opinion and feelings without being attacked. It's wonderful to have you, Natalie. Prophets C, welcome to you. No problem. That's it. Right there. We have to see the trial and all the evidence and anything they have before we can make any kind of a decision like that. That's my opinion. Miss CR, once again, every time she's here, gifted another membership. That's awesome. Looks like Stumped got that membership. Thank you so much, CR, for that. Give me 1 minute, please. Look, this is the internet company calling me because I had another problem today. Leave me alone. Congrats to that one. It got me stumped. Welcome. And thank you so much, CR. As always, this woman does this every day. She comes in here. She gifts one membership. It's amazing. You are so awesome, and I appreciate you so very much. And it looks like Mr. Chad Button gifted a membership as well. And it went to you gifted yourself a membership, Chad. That was interesting. I didn't even know you could do that. That is so weird. Congratulations, Chad, and thank you for that. I appreciate that very much. That's weird. I've never seen that happen before. Yes, Kimberly, my head's on fire. My head is on fire. Risso, what's up? What's going on? Welcome to all the new meatballs. Thank you guys for jumping into sauce today with us as we spill some of that sauce and talk about some things. Appreciate that very much. I've never seen anybody be able to get themselves a membership. That's awesome. You fell right in the perfect spot, Chad. That's awesome. Deborah Thompson, welcome back. Great to see you. Thank you, Jennifer. Great to see you as well. I think I already said that, but welcome again. You guys are awesome. Make sure you guys are open to receive gifts just because of that. Because if you are, then you can receive a membership. If you don't already have one, and of course, if you want one, that's the important part. But you got to be able to receive gifts to be able to get it. So go down the bottom there, click on that little dollar sign at the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. I've never seen that happen, SRB, ever. That's insane. I didn't even know you could do that. That's crazy. But make sure that you go into that little dollar sign and it allows you to receive gifts for gifting. Okay. And then you'll be able to receive that membership when it does pop up like that, if it does. Because it happens all the time. There's some really generous and awesome people in here that do that kind of thing. Like I said, for instance, Mr. Chad Button just dropped another 5. Bless you, sir. And God bless you, sir. That's so very awesome, Chad. I appreciate that. Again, paying it forward. That's right. That is right. PR is awesome. She does this every time she's here. And it looks like El Bariqua, Prophet C, Marie F, Donald D. Nice, and Elliot Polat. Polat? I hope I said that right. I've all been gifted memberships, so welcome, new meatballs. We are glad to have you here as part of this community, part of this family. You guys rock and roll. Absolutely. Absolutely. You guys are awesome. I see you all being generous today, and I'm going to see your 5, Chad, and I will raise you 5 more on me, folks. See who gets these ones. Come on down. That is my other account, the Heavy Metal Toy Box. Looks like Greg McNeely was gifted Crafts and Crime. Nope, nope, nope. Molly May, Whitney Hare, Don't Die 509, and Bobby Old Dude. There you go, guys. 5 more. Congrats to you guys. I hope you enjoy those. And thank you for being part of this community. I appreciate you all so very much. 45 minutes, guys, till the hearing. Let's get this up and going. Absolutely. Heavy Metal, that's my other account. The Heavy Metal Toy Box, my other channel. I like to bring them in here to help give us a like and a view. So awesome. Good to hear that, Harsh. Appreciate that. You're welcome, Molly. You are all welcome. What is what, Natalie? What we talk about? Miss Kim Merritt's in the house out of Buffalo. Miss Kim's been here for a long time, guys. She's one of my OG original 13, I call them. Great to see you today, Kim. And thank you so very much for that first super sticker of the day. God bless. Appreciate you so very much. I'm telling you, Sherry, I love your icon. That is one of the most beautiful headdresses I've ever seen. If you guys can see that on Wisdom Speaks, look at her icon picture. That's gorgeous. I love it. Welcome, Marie F. Great to see you. Thank you for joining us. Dahlia, welcome back to you. 13 months Miss Kim has been here. That is awesome. Very awesome. And I appreciate you, Kim, so very much. E.B. Marie, welcome. Great to see you. So happy to have you here. The loyalty from this community. Carrie Pastula, thank you for being here. I didn't miss you. The loyalty from most of the core community that I have here is absolutely amazing. Most of these people have been here for a year or more. That is awesome to me. That says a lot. That means the world to me, by the way, guys, just so you know. The absolute world to me that you guys enjoy this channel or myself enough to want to be here for that long. It means the world to me. I really appreciate that. Let me see. Elliot says, anyone might guess who knows where us Hoosiers be hailing from? Why Hoosiers are called that? I know where the Hoosiers come from, but I never did understand that name. Would be an interesting conversation. Well, welcome, Natalie. It's wonderful to have you here. I hope you enjoy the channel. Please get comfortable. And everybody, please welcome all the new people as we do with everybody and make them feel comfortable and at home. This is an amazing community for all the newer people that aren't familiar with this. We're a very caring community for the to say what I can say. Okay. Everybody in here will have your back. You have the ability to speak your mind, your opinion, your feelings, as long as you're being respectable to each other. And that's the only rule that I really have in here is to respect each other and do not ever, of course, attack any of the victims or the victims' families that we talk about the cases in here. That's it. Those are my 2 rules. I used to have 4. I have 2 now. Respect each other and yourselves, and never, ever, please, ever disrespect any of the victims that we cover or their families. That's it. Welcome, Jessica Volk from Cali. Good to see you here. My other channel, Natalie, is I'm a toy collector and a customizer. I customize toys and things like that. Um, and I have another channel. Actually, I'll be doing 3 different things. The other channel is covering toys, reviewing them, showing customizations and stuff, things that I've made, like this thing that I made. Stuff like this. I don't even know if it's gonna still work. But I'm just talking about them. I am so tired of getting these spam calls. You have no idea, you guys. So I do that kind of stuff, and then I am gonna be starting a Diego, you would love the Hub's adult air quotes toys. Yes, probably harsh. I'm gonna be starting a morning show, guys. Um, the morning show with Dago, basically, is what it's gonna be. Oh yeah, cars and Star Wars stuff. I love that stuff. But it's gonna be, a morning show that's gonna be covering everything. Just not just true crime stuff. We're gonna be covering current events and just talking about whatever we talk about. Hopefully I'll be having guests and things like that. So that's the 3 things that I'm gonna be doing with this stuff. When I get the time, I don't know, but I'll be doing it. I was supposed to be starting the morning show a while ago, but and it should start around 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and run till 12:30, 1 o'clock probably. And then I'll be doing this show probably more later afternoon or evening. And I'll probably cut down the days a week that I do this to just like maybe 2 or 3. And then the toy thing is going to be like maybe 1 or 2 days a week tops in the evenings typically. And that's what I'll be doing, Donald. Typically that kind of stuff. Gianna, good to see you. Crafts and Crime, welcome. Good to see you here. That is so awesome. I appreciate that. You didn't do it. I got you. I hear this little. I hear that now before people come in, so it doesn't scare me anymore. What's up,
Darn
Mama
it.
Bear?
Hi.
Thank you, Crafts and Crime. I appreciate that very much. Can you hear that? Okay, just making sure it's going through. Doc, what's up? Lou Hellickson, welcome. Good to see you. Hurry up and wait. This is going to be another No Burger. Great morning show. Yes, I'm doing a morning show. That's going to be the thing. I'm hoping that maybe if I do that, I don't know, somebody will be able to be here with me since certain days are going to be opened up for her now. Maybe. We'll see. Goodness gracious. Thank you, CR. I appreciate that very much. Another super sticker.
Hi, guys.
There is our Mama Bear, folks. Moonlit Baby, good to see you. Everybody show your love. Say hello to the Mama Bear. Make your little heart emoji things or whatever that is. However you do it, the bear is in the house. Thank you, CR, for the super sticker train. Somebody said something about that. Who was that? Oh, Crafts and Crime. Okay.
Wow. Goodness.
Well, you guys don't need to send super stickers to get me to show love. I can promise you that much. Just being here makes me appreciate. You can keep all your money, and I still love you guys to death. I definitely promise you that.
You guys are so awesome.
100%. See it? There's a love. Mama Bear love.
Yep.
Mama Bear love. SRB's in here. Wisdom Speaks, Miss Brandy. Kim Marin is in here. 13 months she's been here. I was just talking about how you guys have been here for like a year or more.
Yeah.
Sherry, Kim, Brandy, you and Sherry have been here like a month apart from each other, I think. 16 and 15 months.
I was gonna say mine said 16, I think, the other day.
I think Sherry's 15 months. I mean, it's insane, and I really
Mhm.
appreciate it. You don't see that happening. The loyalty for the
Mm-mm.
core part of this Pamela or Polly Pepper. Pamela, she's been here forever too. I don't see SRB. Do you see SRB? I don't see her. I know why she's doing that because yesterday I didn't think she could hear me, and I think it was yesterday or the day before.
Good eye, Donald.
But I see you. Yes, I see you, dear.
Yes,
The
that is
crap.
what you see.
Thank you, Crafts and Crime. Another one. $1.99. Those Girl Scout cookies. Oh no, no, no! It is not that time of year already.
Oh yes, it is. This is all
Mhm.
that's left.
Wait a minute. Turn them around. I can't see the names.
Eh,
Are those the
Thin
Samoas?
Mints,
No, those are Thin Mints.
Dosey Dos,
Mm, those are okay. The peanut butter patties.
Tagalongs. Yeah,
Yeah, the peanut butter patties.
and we might have already eaten all the Samoas because there was 2 boxes of those. Because I think they're the purple box.
Yeah, they are purple.
Yeah. So my daughter just took off with the last box of those.
But
But
really, SRB. Yes, I see you, and I've seen you before. Look at this. Smart asses. Thank you, SRB, for this super sticker. Super chat. Sorry. Again, you didn't have to. None of you have to do that. I see you all, and I love you all. Period. Tagalongs and Samoa. Yeah, those are my two faves too. I like the Thin
mhm.
Mints every now and again, but Brandy's 14 months a member and 2 years with the channel. That's fact.
Sweet.
Long time. Like I said, the loyalty is insane. You don't see that happen in a lot of channels. You really don't.
Mm.
I am beyond lucky to have this core community the way I do. And I do adore every one of you guys more than you know. Just checking my eyes. That you're wrong. You're gonna have a problem there, SR, because I'm going blind. I'm telling you guys, I can't hardly see shit anymore. It's getting bad. Maybe I saw it because it was a bright color. Maybe that's what happened. I don't know. You know what? Dollar General has a knockoff brand too. They're actually pretty good. You
Hi,
don't get as
Michelle.
many cookies. What are you doing, Crafts and Crime? Again? I love you too. Thank you again very much. Michelle Epple, good to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Yep,
Oh, wait
I
a
was
minute.
too.
I think you both were. Maybe they're the same amount
Yeah,
then. 16
because I think
months.
it was me, Wisdom, and Molly. All three came over at the same time.
And Kim too. Kim Marin was in
Yep,
here with you
and Kim
guys.
Aaron.
Or
Yep,
maybe she came a little bit after as a member. That's probably what it was. Yeah. Either way,
yep.
it's been
So close
almost,
though.
yeah, over a year, guys, a year and a half. It's getting close. But I appreciate you all very, very much. Yeah, Dollar General does have the generic ones. You don't get as many cookies, and the cookies are like this big. They're tiny, tiny, but they're still
You
good.
don't buy generic knockoff Girl Scout cookies.
If
That's
you
cheap.
can't get Girl Scout cookies and you want them, then you have to go buy the knockoffs. I'm telling you. Thin Mints are good too, Eagle. I
I
appreciate
guess
you.
it's a good thing I have several friends that are in Girl Scouts.
Hmm. They should be selling them around here pretty soon then. Brandy will grab
They're
them.
already
She
selling
loves
them.
them.
And so my
Thank
friends
you,
say
Chad.
something, and I was like, "Okay, here's my list." She said, "Okay, I'll drop them off on your porch." Said,
Hmm.
"Sweet."
Thank you, Chad, once again, my friend. Another super sticker. God bless. Are there any new don't they come out with a new flavor every year or every couple years or something?
It seems like it's about every year, every couple years. Yeah,
They're not
I
as
think.
good, but they're close.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't keep up on it like I used to when my kids were actually in Girl Scouts.
One of us dinosaurs. I have a group that I call the original 13. And Mama
Oh
Bear
wow.
Molly, Mama Bear Molly, Brandy, Wisdom, Kim. I can't think of the other names though. I'm about to sit down. I was looking at that members list the other day.
that are still around?
Mhm. They'll still pop in here. They're not always here, but they pop in and out. So,
Well, you got David James, you got Popper.
David James and Popper, yes. Welcome, Daniel
Um,
Johnson.
what
4 PM. Speaking of which, I need to pull the link up for that.
Morticia.
Morticia, Rachel, a few more. I can't. I'll get it in a few. Let me get this link set so we don't miss anything. Um, where the hell is it?
Oh,
Popper is awesome. Him and David are
Pookie
like my best
Bowser.
friends. Him, David, and Mikey are my actual best friends out here. All three of them. Popper was
Pookie and
first.
Bowser, but they haven't been around for
Bowser and
a
Pookie
year or
haven't.
more.
They pop in and out every now and again, but yeah, that's pretty much the rest of them.
Um, there's
Nelly M,
someone
good
else
to
I'm
see
trying to
you.
think of, but I can't think.
Dude, that's good to hear, Doodle. Thank you. Okay, 1 second, guys. Give me a second. I'm sorry.
Oh wow, Kim, that's awful.
I
Sinus infection for a couple of weeks. Goodness.
had mine for a month and a half.
No, thank you.
They're going around bad.
You're probably right, Joanne. No, it doesn't. Walk outside today and you about blow over.
It is windy as hell here too.
Mm. It wouldn't be as cold if it wasn't for that wind. It's ridiculous.
Mm, I do agree. Well, it was warm this morning, and then that wind kicked up, and it got really cold
Mm.
really quick.
We've been in the 30s all day.
Yeah, it's like 42 here, I think.
Let's see. It says 33 with a real feel of 27.
Oh my god.
Winds at 12 miles per hour. Wind maximum wind gusts have been at 21 miles per hour.
What in the heck is going on? Hold on
Did you
here.
break it?
Not yet. Look in the back chat real quick.
Huh.
Mm-hmm. Surprisingly. I don't know why. All right. I'm working on this link, you guys. Give me a second here.
That's not the right thing.
Where the hell is it? I found it.
You did find it?
I did. This is what it's supposed to be. We shall see.
Mm.
I'll throw this up while we're waiting. WFLA is running a stream.
Major platforms.
Miss Michelle Apple, good to
Max.
see you.
Yeah, I didn't watch it, but I did see it. We do have Max as well. It's a free ad for them.
JB's
But
interviewing Peter Tragos
we
right now live, so
watched the
we'll watch
one on
that
Lori
too,
Vallow,
buddy.
my wife and I,
You
back
get
in the
their
day,
insight.
and I mean, it was completely condemning and horrible, and it was really hard to watch and not think that she was as guilty
Sorry to
as
hear that.
sin when you
Yeah,
watch
hope it
that.
warms
And I
up
don't
for
know
you.
if
War
Kohberger is going to be the
Eagle,
same. I know there was
thank you
some
for
on
joining
Murdoch
us.
that some felt that way, some felt Murdoch slanted, whatever it may be.
Very
But
windy.
once it gets to that level before the trial, it is something I don't love.
Again,
And I
by
mean,
the way, I
from
wanted
my
to.
perspective, yeah, I
Oh,
talk
there
about
they
this stuff
are.
on YouTube, and
There they
people could
are.
say that's hypocritical.
I
I
love.
really do my best to try to keep people to where if they walked
By the
in
way,
to voir dire or jury selection and they said,
Michelle
I watched the
says,
Lori,
I was
and they're
thinking
like, what do
Keely
you learn
had
on
worse
there? I'd
wounds
want them to
trying
say,
to dodge
that dude
stabs
sitting
during
over there is
between walls.
presumed innocent
That's
unless
very,
maybe
very,
you
very
believe beyond a
possible,
reasonable
Michelle,
doubt.
and it makes a
I
lot
got
of
a vote
sense.
not guilty, and I'm sitting here
It
and
does.
I may have seen this or read
I
this, and I don't know
noticed
what's going to come out in
yesterday
trial. So I'm going to
somebody
wait to see what comes out in
sent
trial,
me
and then I'm going to
something
make up my
via
mind.
the
And from
Amazon
my
wish list.
perspective, that
I
helps
want to thank
mislead
you
and add
very,
to
very
the
much.
potential jury pool,
And
as opposed
please
to
know
put
that
us in the
from the heart, I
potential jury pool,
appreciate
which I
that very
feel
much.
some
That
of these
stuff helps me
documentaries
in
have
a lot of
deliberately done.
ways,
Now, I will state
more
as
than you
far as
know, guys. So
documentary because I
thank
did
you to
decide
whoever
that
did
what I
that.
watched
It doesn't tell me who it was,
specifically,
but thank you very much for that. I appreciate
how
that so
because
much.
the promo image being of the
Snow,
suspect
Josie. No, no
is
snow.
a
Stop saying that. Stop swearing.
that's a very
Caca.
conscious
No,
decision.
no. That's
That was
bad
made
stuff.
as
Yeah,
far
we're
as
over it.
promotional image
Hmm.
that is
We didn't
put
even
out
get
there
any
for
really this
all
year, and
different
I'm over it anyway. I'm ready for
so there's
sunshine
lots of
again.
different
I'm
reasons there, combinations
really
of
losing
reasons.
out on the
It's just
sunshine.
the
We got
way that it's
132
faced. I want
peeps
to
in here
flip
right
it.
now. That is
This is the
awesome.
promotional image right here, you guys. For
Yeah,
the
it's definitely been a
I just thought
darker, drearier
there's a lot of room there for
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
winter.
just
We
thinking
got
about it. Now,
118
I watched
likes
the
too. You guys are
documentary,
amazing.
and again, it was
Rock and
released on a
roll.
streaming
I
service,
love
and
it.
did begin with a disclaimer, and I
All
want to
right.
make sure that I read the disclaimer. It says this program is based on police charges and allegations. All suspects are presumed innocent.
It is
unless proven
1
guilty
p.m.
in
Moscow
a
time, which is central,
That's
which would
right.
be
Because
4
I haven't
o'clock
already done
our
it.
So
time.
it might have been
Well,
a
Eastern
disclaimer that
Standard.
the
Sorry.
filmmaker said, "All right, look, we are making sure that this disclaimer goes up, considering that this person."
That's a good question. I'm going to do a poll on my community page for that too. Should the Idaho murder trial be moved out of Latah County? If you guys think so, throw a 1 in the chat. If you don't think so, throw a 2 in the chat, please.
As far as documentaries coming out before a story has reached its conclusion.
Am I too loud or too quiet, Mama Bear?
You're fine to me.
Okay, good.
Bring us back to the whole conversation at the center of your screen.
And for those of you that just jumped in, I will be live again tonight at 8:30 covering a news story that dropped Mama Bear threw at me this morning
This got moved out
About a
of the county and
Amish woman that
perhaps
was
as a
pregnant
benefit
found
to the
dead in
case
her
overall
home that we're going to be
is because
covering.
it might be less taxing
Yeah,
to
Crazy
that
stuff.
college town. If
it
you
was awful.
are a parent and you're sending your child to the University of Idaho,
There's not 1, 2 in the chat. Do you see
you
that?
can't not be aware of the fact that 4 students
I
were
agree.
murdered
Oh, wait,
there and
Donald
that the
said it
trial
too.
is still yet to occur.
I think
So
it should be
you're thinking about
taken out of
all
late
of
thought
the
myself.
innocent people, all of the innocent parents, all of the innocent students who just want to receive their education at their school of choice, which might be the University of Idaho. And you're thinking about them. And there
Doodle
is the
said 9.
argument to be
Heck if I
made.
know.
Peter, I want to ask you, how strong is the argument that you do not want to be that much of a
How do you
distraction
find your
to the
Amazon list
University of
and
Idaho
address
and to
order?
traffic
Oh,
being
we have a
suspect?
link for the Amazon list, Michelle.
This is going to sound harsh, but almost zero.
Mods, if one of you guys
Just
could drop
the
that,
point
please,
is they're
I'd
in a county.
appreciate
There
that.
are trials in that county. There are going to be defendants that go to that
Once they
school. There are
drop
going
the
to be
link,
victims
Michelle,
that go
you
to
just
that
click the
school. This
link
is
and
not
it
the
takes you
first
directly
time
to it, and it
a
all
crime has involved the University of
handles it all
Idaho.
from there.
And that's not to be
Once you go through it.
insensitive. That's just to say, if that was the
Thank you
case,
very much.
it would put even more of a strain on our judicial system. It would clog it up even more because bigger
Yeah,
cities
that's
usually have
crazy, isn't it,
more
SRB?
cases in court, civil and criminal, than smaller communities or smaller counties. So if we took even more of the smaller county cases and put them in bigger county cases, every time everybody thought it's going to affect the community too much, it just wouldn't work like that. And there is an element of part of the public policy of why we do it this way, that community and your peers, a jury of your peers, is supposed to be from the community where the crime was committed.
Not yet,
So
Sarah.
that would take away from that as well. So I do think if they can avoid being disruptive, which I think the state presented a great argument about doing it over the summer, if they
Thank
can
you,
do
Brandy.
that, great.
There's the
And I
link,
think we should
Michelle.
try to do that. But if it
You can
lasts
click on it in the
longer than
chat,
whatever
it'll
the
take you
summer
right
period
to it.
is, that's not a reason, in my opinion, to move it to a different city or county or a bigger
And
area
Doodle, I
just
don't know if they
because it
do or
will
if they
cause some
don't.
strain or stress on the university for a period of time.
It doesn't take a
I
rocket
don't think
scientist.
they
It
do,
doesn't
hon.
take a genius
I don't think
to
so either.
realize that if you are university leadership, you want this to be as you already, from your vantage point, you would say that you've
Oh,
suffered
wow,
enough,
really?
that your student body has suffered enough, that
I saw
your
that was supposed to
campus
happen.
employees, just campus in general, your school has suffered enough as a result of this. You do not want this to linger on for years and years and years.
There's a
It's probably
62-minute
part of the
video
reason,
on
or if
East
not the
Idaho
reason, why the
execution
house was
called on
demolished.
because they
And
couldn't
yes, for
ID
those
him.
who are
Whoa.
picking up on this story at
He's
a
supposed
later
to be
date and
executed.
did not miss our live
Why
stream
couldn't they IV him?
ago, or I
I
believe
must
it was
not
a
have been
couple
able to
months
get a vein
ago,
or something.
the house, the actual crime scene itself, the murder scene,
That
was
just doesn't make sense.
demolished after
Thank you,
much
Brandy, for
vocal
that.
support from university
Thank you for anybody
leadership,
that donates to that to
saying that
support the
really
channel.
that
You are
the
appreciated.
investigators had everything that they needed, that it was time for really for them to move on and to heal. And so
Very much
here we are
appreciated.
now with just trying to figure out as to when trial will begin. We have 15 more minutes with Peter Tragos, the lawyer you know. We are going to try to now exclusively answer as many questions as possible. VIP comments to
No worries, Shelley. Hope your head
www.heyjb.live
feels better.
or world.heyjb.live for our international audience. You can also punch in hashtag HeyJB in YouTube Live, but I got to be looking at my
There you go,
screen
Michelle.
at the moment that you punch it in for me to actually see that comment. The VIP comments stick on my screen. So, Peter, let's get into it. Also, want to let people know we're trying to get the vote count as much as high as we can to get maybe closer to 1,000. We might not get to 1,000, but we'll do our very best. Let's get to LV's comment. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know the legalities, but I think it could help that people in the area would be the ones to figure the case out because they could know the walking distance, what could be heard, the driving distance, what could be possible or impossible. Nice to see you both talking about a big case. I also don't think it's okay that the documentary had the suspect's picture as the cover. Anything to say to LV's comment here, Peter?
Yeah, I mean, partially that's why we pick the jurors from the
If
community
anybody
or
would
the
like to
county
get the lovely
that
mama
the
bear,
crime or the
that's how
action,
you
if it's
do
a
it
civil
right there.
case, happened in. That's usually the default. Now, a lot of people know the difference. You know, if you say I'm driving to this town or this state or that state, so maybe it's not such specialized knowledge like that, but it is common to pick people from the county where it's been affected. It's affected that county and they need justice in that county. Well, that county is where the jurors come
I
from.
can agree with you on that, David.
Let's see.
We need to prove him guilty first.
Ryder
I agree with
Patsy
that.
says hopefully trial will be this year. Mr. Z Stubbs, lawyer, do you think that the state will or has offered a plea for
Thank you, Sarah.
without
I appreciate it.
parole, or do
That's
they
awesome,
want
Sarah.
it to
Thank
go
you
to
for
trial regardless? Is the comment.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to know that answer. I don't know that they have, or if they have maybe opened the door by saying, defense, why don't you send us a plea offer that would be acceptable to you, so they don't actually have to ever offer it. It seems like the victims' families, at least part of the victims' families, maybe the more vocal
No
parts
worries.
of the
Donald.
victims'
Take your
families
time, brother.
are saying they don't want that offer to the state. They wouldn't agree to it.
All right,
So maybe the
Michelle.
state
Thank you.
wouldn't do it for that, or at least, like I said, wouldn't officially make that kind of offer without knowing the defense would accept it. Because again, that could backfire, could make the victims' families upset, could get negative media attention. So they're thinking about all that as they navigate how to handle this case.
Let's bring Garrett in here for a second. And Garrett, we're trying to refresh this page. Still nothing yet from
Thank you, Jennifer.
Judge's page, right?
Nope. Quick refresh here again. Still nothing.
Did he just change?
Yeah, actually, I just noticed that as well. This logo seems to be different right
Did
here.
he just change his profile picture?
Yeah, they did change.
Breaking news. Did Judge John Judge just change his profile picture? That is the account.
Yeah, it's the same one. Haven't left the page. Just been refreshing it, and that is definitely different.
All right, Peter. So if you were a true conspiracy theorist, which I'm not,
Mine didn't
but
change.
I'll
Yeah,
pretend
it
to
did
be
change.
for a second.
Right now too.
It was the Latah County court emblem as his profile picture, and now it is just a generic one. So that clearly means is that he wants to move it out of Latah County, right? I mean, is that
Awesome,
what we're getting
Josie.
at here?
Well, it is within his discretion, as probably
Please
is his
do check
profile
out
picture.
Mama Bear's
So
channel, guys.
not reading
judges
too
have
much
wide
into it.
discretion.
We're not
Thank you, Josie.
No, that's obviously the joke. We one more time.
This is
refresh.
awesome. I'm glad to hear that,
You're right.
Sarah.
Refresh.
Are they trying to send a sign? Are they
That's
trying
awesome.
Well, I mean, not the cover photo. What is this? The cover photo?
I guess
It
that's the
still
cover
says
photo.
Latah County Court. Yeah, so that kind of shoots down the.
Now, if that changes, then
Yeah, if
then,
this says like so and so county, 5 counties away, then we know it's moving.
yeah, we don't know why he changed the profile picture there. That's kind of curious, but this is the page that we're going to be refreshing, of course, to be able to share.
Yeah, it was
John
pretty
Judge's
pretty
live
bad,
stream,
David.
which is again the Zoom call when it does in fact begin in about 15 minutes from now. 10 more minutes with Peter Tragos, the lawyer. Let's go to Cheryl. Hashtags for us both. First, thank you so much for a great live stream watching from Scotland, UK. Clearly, it's working for our international audience, which is great to see. We are all aware of this case here. I don't believe moving the trial will be of any benefit. I just hope whatever the outcome, that the victims' families find peace and justice.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the international audience their knowledge about this case does show how hard it's going to be Idaho is a big state, but not the most populous state. So I think that it's definitely going to be hard. And the ultimate point for the criminal justice system, there is a punishment element, but to find justice for the victims, I mean, that's the main reason to have a criminal justice system like ours.
Angie with an interesting question. Hey,
Right here,
both, if the venue is changed, do you think the trial would be before summer 2025?
I think Ann Taylor said in the prior hearing, don't quote me, but if I remember correctly, she said the absolute soonest that she could be ready, but don't hold her to it, was March of 2025. I think that's what's in my head.
That's why I'm curious about
maybe Garrett can look it up for us
today.
I'm just kidding. It was in the middle of a YouTube video. It'd be impossible.
It would take him a while to find that moment. He just had a panic. You should have seen his face.
Awesome,
he just had a panic attack. He had to.
We appreciate it
and find one moment in the court hearing.
Well, actually, funny enough, I remember that moment because I wrote that story when we covered the last.
What were you guys talking about?
March.
Right before I came up about Hoosiers.
If all goes well with Discovery, then maybe that would work.
So
I think if the venue's changed, I think that's probably the earliest we see it set is March of 2025.
That was funny.
Was that? Yeah, that was that comment. Yeah, so March 2025 is probably the earliest.
Hello, Golf. Good to see ya.
Let me give you credit, because as everyone was pointing to, almost every legal expert was saying summer 2024 was going to be trial. I remember having you on a stream and you said, JB, going to be summer I think it's going to be summer 2025. And I remember the stream chat at the time. We're like, Peter, 2025. You're talking about 3 years after the murders took place, and people thought you were crazy, and here you are looking like the smartest guy in the room.
Hardly never the smartest guy in the room, except for this room, because I'm the only guy in this room right now. But it just comes down to how difficult these things are. Once the defense waives speedy trial, all of the discovery issues they're having in the case, it's going to be an expert-intensive case, a DNA case, a death penalty, 2-phase trial. I mean, it had all the markings for something that was going to be difficult to get to go to trial. And now that they're not pushing to be within that speedy trial period, I thought, I always would err on the side of longer. Now, the court hasn't said it's summer of 2025, right? So we could have this hearing and I could be the dumbest guy in the room and it could be summer of 2024. Who knows? But this is coming from somebody who had an entire jury panel struck in my trial 2 weeks ago that had been continued 6 times.
That was
4
sorry.
years
Mr.
old.
Dago said
and
hello and
so
love
we
you all.
struck the entire jury panel, couldn't pick a fair and impartial
Having
jury.
lunch
And
with
our new trial date
daughter
is November.
my daughter's
So
birthday.
9 months
Yeah.
for a case that we all want to happen right now. We're
home
all
like
ready to
2 weeks,
go. Everybody
guys.
was prepped. We paid all our experts. Defense paid all their experts. We were ready to go on it. And even that
I'm glad I got off
9
in
months.
time
So
to be
there
here.
are so many things going on that cause delays in the justice
you say?
system that really suck, but it's something we have to deal
I
with.
said I'm glad I got off work in time to be here today.
Yes, I am too. Very much
Patience,
so.
of course, I'm sure is an important part of what you guys do. Garrett, you got something?
Well, yeah, Judge in the
Oh, wow, Sarah.
last month it was, right? So that he said, I can't remember the exact quote, but something along the
Wow,
lines
that's
of to
crazy,
set something
Sarah.
in 2025 was very hard for him to do for this
4
case.
years.
Because of the
Good
victims
Lord.
Right, and that
their
he would
families.
want to
Thank you,
do
Eagle.
2024, but has that changed since the last time he mentioned that? Obviously, that is the question.
The big point to remember is that no one wants to have to do this all over again, right? Do it one time, determine if somebody is guilty or innocent of the charges that have been put forth, and you just don't want to have to repeat the court process over and over again. So if the defense says they need extra time, most of the time the courts are pretty understanding to that, right, Peter?
Yeah. And I mean, that's kind of why off the top, what Garrett was mentioning is why I said, we'll see if the court comes around. And because everybody else seems to agree summer of 2025 might be the best spot, is he really going to overrule that and say, no, we're going to do summer of 2024? Now, maybe he'll do March of 2025. I may have said 2023 there. If he does March of 2025, I would be thinking that that's a built-in continuance that he may allow if something comes up and everything doesn't go to plan. But we're talking about a case that's already had in-camera review, motions to compel, multi-day hearings where we're calling experts and the court's taking a week to come up with whatever his order is. And then after his order, there are all these multi-steps on one piece of evidence potentially in this case. That's not talking about all the potential witnesses, all the issues, all law enforcement, all the other data, the multiple terabytes. There's just so much going on that it's really tough for a judge to sit there and say, nah, you know what? You're going to be ready for trial in 4 months, summer of 2024, when you're telling me you need a year and a half. That's a tough pill to swallow. And a tough thing for a judge to do, even though it would technically be within his discretion.
Peter, what do you think of Judge thus far? Asks Tom. He's been patient on screen.
I really like him. I think he's done a good job. I think he's weighed it. I think he has complimented the attorneys even when he disagrees with them. I think he's been really thoughtful in how he goes through it. I think he cares about the victims, but I think he also cares about the rights of the criminal defendant, and he is trying to protect that. And like every judge should, they should want these cases to move. There's nothing I hate more than when it seems like a judge doesn't care how long a case lasts for, doesn't care about, everybody involved. They're just
Yeah,
nothing I can do. Let's kick
Peter
it out 6
Tragos.
months. And he's
I've
not
always
doing
liked
that.
him.
He's not
He's
afraid to make a difficult
pretty
call,
good.
which is the job
Yeah,
of
he's
the
pretty
judge to call
too.
balls and strikes and
Yeah,
make
I know all you
decisions. And I
guys
think he's
like
done a
him
good
for
job so
that
far with
reason
that.
too.
It's a question here from Oopsie Daisy on YouTube
My wife saw
Live.
him
Again,
once. I was
YouTube
watching
Live,
his
you can
video, and
search
she's
for
like
AJB to
walking
also
by
get my
like
attention.
normal, and
What
she
will
stopped.
happen if one of the jurors
And I looked
lies
up. I
get
could
on
see a
the jury
reflection in my
when they
monitor, and
are
I turned
actually
around. I'm
biased?
like,
So the only way this
"What are you
matters
doing?"
is if
She's like,
somebody eventually finds
"Who's
out,
that?"
right?
And I said,
So if
"Why?"
somebody
She
lies
goes,
and gets
"I'm
on
just
and keeps it
wondering."
in, gets a verdict and never
I
says
said,
anything about it, well,
"It's
unfortunately,
an
that's a lawyer's
attorney
worst
that's
nightmare.
talking."
And
She was like,
sometimes I'm sure it
"Oh."
does happen.
I
But
said,
if we find out
"So
about it after
don't
the
tell me
fact,
you're interested in what he's
it could be
talking
after
about."
discovered
She's like,
evidence of
"Not
jury
really." I said,
misconduct.
"Get out of
It
here."
could potentially overturn the entire case and create a situation where they have to do it all over again.
Okay, we have a
Yep.
good enough. We
Cameras
have a
in
good
the
enough
courtroom
relationship.
during
We can do that.
trial. I'll start
It's
this.
the same with me and my husband.
She was like,
because it would
don't
seem
say nothing.
that
She goes, you were
Judge
oogling over
has
Ann
settled
Taylor one
on
time. I said,
there being
that was
just
because
the
of what
Zoom.
she looked like that
So,
day. It's
again,
not like I'm,
Luana
it's just like,
Taniguchi
whatever. Joe, shut up.
out of New Mexico, and
It is what it
I've
is.
been noting how
Yes, the ladies
they
do
keep
love Mr.
zooming
Fragile.
in on the defendant
I
and
can see
showing
it. I
her
mean,
reactions. We
I
don't
get it.
have that.
The guy
in this
looks like he
trial.
used to be a
Judges in different
menudo.
court jurisdictions differently. But
Get rid of
here,
that
I
beard
don't
and
think that
mustache. He'd fit right in.
Judge is just going to wake up one day and be like, you know what?
Right, David? He's smart and he's pretty.
3 cameras and microphones all over the courtroom.
Yes, he's pretty and smart.
long
You don't
shot.
get that too often.
I agree. I
Mhm.
think it's kind of going to depend on how it goes with his current setup. And I think it's seemingly going better than it was before. It's more controlled.
That's right, David.
There's
He's very
less,
smart and he's very good at what he does.
I
I
don't know,
like watching him.
glamorization of it.
I'm going to show you
I
guys
think
Mr.
that's kind of what he's
Steve
looking
from True
for, but he
Crime
wants
Web.
to
He's
provide the
really
public
good
with
too.
access as he should. And I think he's doing his best to balance that at
I
this
think,
point. So we have cameras right now, and I think it'll continue until something bad happens.
is he going mob crew a lot?
I promise to get you out of here
Yeah.
5 minutes to the hour.
An older
I know
guy,
it is.
retired
Also
police
point out
officer. He's
to our
pretty good.
audience that
Yeah, he's
Peter
good.
isn't just an attorney
Oh,
here
they
in
got me turned
Florida,
on to
as
him.
people
We're going to
know.
start
He is
reviewing
the
his stuff.
lawyer
I'd
you
love to
know,
get him on here to
and he,
talk to us
of
about
course,
some of
has
the
a
stuff that
channel
he does.
filled with
He's
great
really
content
good.
where he is
Yeah.
dedicated to
Same with,
taking
I'm working
some
on, well,
high-profile
Mandy's supposed to be
cases,
trying to get
cases
Bob
that are
Motto
very
to come in
complex,
here
and
with us.
breaking
I
them
love
down, and
Bob.
also
I
having
love his outlook.
conversations interactively
I like
with
that
his
he's down to
audience on
earth,
his
especially on
page.
the
Peter, I know
Delphi
you're going to be
case. Him
streaming
and Sleuthy.
later on
Sleuthy said
today.
I
As
can give
always,
her a
thanks for
heads up.
joining
She's
us.
going to come in and be talking.
Yeah, I'll do a recap of the
Delphi
hearing,
all
answer
three.
a lot of
Awesome.
questions. We'll see what the judge says, sees what the lawyers argue. I'll probably be doing it around 8:45
Exactly, LR.
p.m. Eastern
Do
time
what?
tonight. If you want to come over to the Lawyer You Know channel.
Peter,
on
he
YouTube,
explains
we'll do
things
something
in a way
like
that you can actually
Yeah,
understand them.
great.
Yeah, he puts things
Friend
in
of the
layman's
program,
terms. That's
friend
why I
of
like him.
us here in the Stream Center, and we always, of course, appreciate your time, Peter. I'll be looking for your stream later on tonight.
Awesome, man. Thanks, JB, and good to meet you, Garrett.
All right, thanks so much, Peter, and back here with Garrett. We of course always appreciate having Peter on stream. Everybody,
Whatever,
if you haven't
Angel.
met Garrett, if you weren't here at the beginning of the live stream, digital content producer for WFLA.com.
He doesn't have
has
beard,
some
though.
stories, of course, on what we're following out of
see,
Idaho
you gotta
with
have the
Brian
sexy guy
Kohberger.
beard
You
like
can
I
engage
do.
with him
There
with
you go.
hashtag Hey Garrett. That's new. What do you think? You
I
got
have
the
my own hashtag.
you
On
got the
McVeigh.
hashtag.
Okay.
You know, when you join WFLA and you see the Stream Center set up and you see all the good work that you do and you see the hashtag Hey JB,
You
anybody
guys are
wants something.
funny.
Man, I want a hashtag one day. And I got a hashtag.
That's and Garrett's being extremely kind. The Hey JB thing was a complete accident, but you know what? It kind of stuck, and we use it now
Kinda.
for a lot of our stream guests, including Garrett and
Garrett
others
looks like an
that
oversized
join us on
12-year-old to
stream.
me.
Hashtag Hey Wall. To our
I've always said
audience who follow us here in the Stream
He
Center.
looks like
has
a
moved
child
on
in an
from
adult's body.
WFLA. We miss her here terribly. She is, of course, somebody that did a lot of work with
All
us.
right, Brandy, calm down.
And, be on the lookout for what she announced.
Hello,
Gone now,
sorceress.
ladies. Calm down. Breathe out,
exciting
ladies. Come on.
future. Hashtag
Good evening,
Josh
sorceress. Good to
Benson,
see ya.
some great people that we have here at WFLA. If you're finding the live stream, you care about one thing. You care about Judge John Judge's channel and when he's going to go live. We're going to be sharing that here. And then, of course, afterwards, we are going to be back here with you live to break down what we've learned. But most importantly for us in the next 3 minutes.
Brandy and Angel,
Peter,
you guys are a
let's
mess.
bring Garrett back in.
What is
Most
up, Laura?
importantly, over the
Lauren,
next few minutes, we're
welcome.
let's see if we can get the votes.
It's
Get
Cat
600
K.
votes. Maybe get the 600 in the next 3 minutes.
You
Or
guys
so.
are a trip.
Apparently.
You guys are a trip. Where's the rest of my men at in
Alright,
here? I need a
let's
little
see
more
if we can do it.
testosterone around me,
No
guys.
sign
Come
up,
on.
poll, no money, no nothing, no tracking.
We got David in
nothing.
here.
It is a simple one tap, one
We're
click
surrounded,
poll,
David.
and you could do so, of course, by voting by going to www.heyjb.com.
Chad was in here. What?
Lou Hellickson, Chad.
You should be able to access the
That's
poll.
3 or 4 of
by
us
going
now.
to world.
Good Lord. Remember when it was nothing? There were like no men
just
in
trying
here.
to advance
Yes.
Oliver. Journalism.
Yes.
Not here
That
to
was-
try
that
to
was
get
I think
it
they were
to a
scared.
unified place
I
for
was
all of our
scared.
platforms. people on WFLA.com, our sister sites, our WFLA app, Facebook, YouTube. It's one unified place for people to vote in our polls and engage with us and submit comments. And we're going to do some really cool things.
Neil,
with
there
the
he is. There's
Graphic
another
Journal
one.
vote,
Neil Homestead,
in the
welcome, sir. Good
future.
to see you.
So,
LR,
yeah,
welcome.
Let's see if we can get that vote count up towards 600. And then I
Yes,
promise you,
Dad, it's okay
promise
though.
you, if
They're
we
all
get to 600,
wonderful, wonderful
we'll
ladies.
reveal the results immediately. I'll click the button. It'll animate on screen.
Hey,
It'll
you put
animate
him
on
on
your
here.
devices.
I
as
know
well.
I did. It's
That's how the
okay, Kim.
technology works.
Toodles. Hi, honey.
Yeah,
How
maybe
are you?
URLs
Toodles
in the
is here?
chat, or I think you have been
Absolutely.
doing that, right? Because
Sick infants in the
Yeah, I
house.
can refresh it again. I mean, why
people
not?
are used to seeing the YouTube live polls. We're trying to make a more unified and single destination spot for all of our poll questions going forward. In the meantime, we'll come back to the vote counter as people vote in.
Yes,
Judge
Twiz
John
was the
Judge,
target yesterday. I wonder where Twiz is
has
at.
still not yet gone live. We'll be paying close attention to that. And Big Bear Beast TV on YouTube Live said #KJB. He changed it to the logo of the Idaho Judicial Branch. Is that what that?
Doing wonderful,
Google it.
Toodles.
I
It's
actually
good to
did
see you
already. That
today.
is correct.
Yeah.
That is the
Okay.
generic Idaho judicial.
Probably
branch.
ran
Jesus,
away.
Randy.
You're here to fact check me. You know that.
I was just I wanted to get out ahead of it.
I
Tell us
appreciate
how you
it.
really
Time.
feel.
Look.
How
Tom,
about not? And you just
so for reasons unknown,
not gonna go
Judge decided, you know
Wow.
what? Today would be a good day to update my profile picture. And there you have it.
Good Lord.
On the,
50 Shades of Peter. Don't
You guys
encourage
are-
your LR.
You guys are a trip.
yeah,
That's the
no,
only-
it's right.
Only example.
Like why today?
Okay.
He knew
Okay.
that there was going to be a lot of people watching this stream specifically. and wanted to get extra time.
Let's okay, we're almost at 600 votes again. AJB. I'm very curious to see
Hey,
the
we're at
results of this question.
359.
Should the Idaho murder trial be moved out of Latah County?
Nope, you're just in time, Linz.
Sure.
There's Linz.
and
Good to
again,
see
the
you.
moment that he goes live, we're going to go to his page. Let me also point out something too.
That's the way to come in the
We
door.
are going to launch a brand new poll during the actual
Yeah, you guys are killing me
hearing
today. This
itself,
is
so that
funny.
people can vote as the hearing is going on. We're going to, of course, formulate the question and go from there. But be on the lookout because you'll see it on the bottom of your screen. It will, of course, tell you
I doubt it, Lou. He's Italian.
what the poll question is and what we are asking. We are so close. So close. 596. 597. 3 away.
I got you, Elliot.
Does it
Low,
matter if I
low
go-
Labor's Moon. Good to
Does
see
it
you.
matter if
Yeah,
I-
right. Yeah, Garrett's going to submit the 600th
I just
vote.
want to know what the answer is.
I'd like
What
to
did
know.
Lou
I need
say?
to get the feature built in so that
I
number
don't know if you
600
burn
is-
easy in the sun.
Oh no, I don't burn at
Burn.
all.
Their
I
name pops
brown.
up. Give a
Yeah,
little,
that would be great. There it
little
is,
confetti party.
600 votes, and here are your results as promised. Should the Idaho murder trial be moved out of
Yeah, I
Latah
turn
County?
brown, guys. I
65%
can.
of
I
people
might
say
burn
no,
once,
but
depending on how long I'm
almost a
out there.
third
But
of
I
people,
brown real easy.
say yes. Maybe we'll get into this after, of course, we share the.
Oh, wow.
You again, Brian Kohberger expected.
That's probably
back
a
in
good
court.
thing.
Judge
Yeah.
John
Good.
Judge, his page has not yet gone.
I like
live.
hearing that.
What do you think of these results,
Sure, the kids
Garrett?
don't.
The
but
only
Hey,
5%
North Carolina Mountain Man.
sure.
There's
That
another.
means
There he
that people
is.
pretty much had
In
an opinion
stitches,
on the matter.
Mountain Man.
I'm
Good to
honestly
see you
surprised that
guys.
30%
Thank you for
said
joining
yes.
us.
I thought
too.
that I remember when the case when the murders first happened, and I remember the coverage. I was at a different station at the time, and everybody
Saying that they're
had
live
very
on
strong
here.
opinions on it. Obviously, everybody still does.
Breaking
Here we
news.
go.
I thought a lot of it was
You might have to turn it up, everybody. It's not really loud.
Sorry. Technology.
Oh,
Is that Jay? Yeah, Jay's down at the bottom now. All right, get Peter out of your minds, everybody. Focus on this. Where did Jay go?
disappeared.
Yeah, I don't like their camera setup either, Kels. I blew it up. Can you see the chat, Mama Bear, if I do this?
I can put it on my other screen.
Okay. Keep an eye on it for me. I blew it out. Does that help make it bigger for you guys? I can do that, but I can't see the chat.
Okay. All right. Sorry for the delay. We are now on the record. This is State versus Brian Kohberger, CR 29222805. Mr. Kohberger is here in the courtroom. He is represented by Ms. Taylor and Ms. Nassif. Mr. Logston is participating through Zoom. The state is represented by Bill Thompson, Ashley Jennings, Jeff Nye, and Ingrid Beatty. The proceedings, I think they are live streaming through the court's YouTube channel. So please do not attempt to record, film, or transmit during the proceedings. Thank you for that. All right, so we have some motions to address today. And I thought we should first go with the defendant's motion to allow experts and investigators access to view IgG information. If that makes sense, I think also the motion to clarify sealed order for disclosure of IgG and merges into that. So go ahead, Ms. Taylor.
Thank you. You're reading the state's response. I think the state has no objection to the three named experts having access to the sealed IgG materials or the materials subject to protective order. So I think what we're really talking about is our investigative team for Brian's case to have access to the IgG materials. And the state has objected to that. They've objected in part because they are not named in our motion. So I want to address that first. Your Honor, they are not named, and I can name them, that's not a problem. But the reason I didn't is based on consistency. These same investigators have had access to the grand jury materials to assist us in the case. They've had access to other things subject to protective order, and they're not named in those. They have access, there's three items subject to other protective order, and that's medical information from hospitals, that's University of Idaho records, and most recently, police procedures. They haven't been required to be named in orders in any of those. And so for consistency, I did the same thing. But we can name them if that is a sticking point. I would note that the members of the FBI that did the analysis are not named in the materials either. Your Honor, the reason why our investigators are important to have access to the IgG materials is because of the kind of case this is and the kind of investigation that we're required to launch in the case. We have to have investigators on a death penalty case, and we have them. These materials or these items in the IgG binder, those are things that we may end up filing motions in court. In order to prepare for those, we rely on our investigators to help us with side tasks, with big tasks, with all of the tasks. We would need to utilize our experts. If our investigators can't have access to the materials, they'll have to be shut out of those meetings with those experts, and they'll have to be shut out of court proceedings that we might launch related to those materials. Your Honor, to meet our constitutional duties in Brian's case, his rights to have effective assistance of counsel, to have a full investigation, to have a fair trial, we have to have investigators. Those investigators are on board and have been on board, and they help us understand things that are given to us by the state. They help us find witnesses, they help us find experts, and they're necessary to be part of the conversation of what the IgG materials are and what they mean. This matters in figuring out how Mr. Kohberger ends up on the police radar and subject to these proceedings here. I know we've talked about this before, and I still don't have all of those answers. I believe today, with our experts getting access, we're going to make some headway with that. but we also need our investigators to be part of those discussions as well. Again, Your Honor, if their names appearing in a court order is an issue, that we'll do that. We'll do that. That's inconsistent with the other protective orders, but we'll do that. And they'll be subject to the protective order just like we are, and they'll abide by it just like they've done for the other protected materials they've had access to. And while we're on that line, if the court wants me to talk about the clarification, I can do that.
Let's hear from the state first. I mean, I understand the having investigators. I think what we're talking about though is just with the IGG that we have to be especially careful about, you know, who's going to have the access, what they're going to do with it. I think I agree. It's clear that the state has no objection to the 3 experts that you've named. So I don't think that's a problem. But let me go to Ms. Jennings. Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
That's correct, Your Honor. And Your Honor is familiar and aware of the materials that we're discussing, and you're also aware of the sensitive nature of those materials. The state is really just following the court's lead in your protective order, where you named specifically who on the defense team would be allowed to have access. It follows that if we're going to expand that access, that those individuals need to be specifically named. And it's really going to be the only way the court can have control of any unauthorized dissemination, is to know exactly who was privy to what was enclosed. So at a bare minimum, we need to know who it's going to be given over to. Your December 29th sealed order also said that any further dissemination of the materials or the information contained within the materials, including to any investigator or experts, must be approved by the court after a showing by the defense as to why such individual needs the information. In the defense's motion, their stated reasoning is, quote, to investigate how and when Mr. Kohberger was identified as a suspect, end quote. State maintains they don't need access to all of that highly sensitive information. To satisfy that purpose that is laid out in the November 28, 2023 letter from the FBI to the state. So we would ask that, one, they be named. If they are granted access, that it be to that letter, and that the balance of the materials be protected. And we would ask that you follow the proposed language in the state's response from February 9th to ensure further protections of the materials.
Thank you, Ms. Jennings. Sailor?
Well, Your Honor, I know what letter Ms. Jennings refers to, and I think our experts should have access to the actual materials. That letter is a summary. It's a police summary. Our duty is to investigate police work. We do that in every case, and with our heightened duties in a death penalty case, our investigators should have access to the entire record. Our investigators understand what a protective order is, and they'll abide by that protective order. Again, if you want them named in any order allowing them access, that's fine. That's just fine with me. It's most important that they have access to all of the materials. The summary contained in the FBI's letter isn't the totality of the materials. It doesn't show some of the particulars about things that were happening on certain dates. And that's what's important to put into a timeline so that we can try to understand how the state did its work in this case.
Well, one of the issues with this IGP is relevance at all. And so the way I'm viewing it is maybe it needs to go on steps, maybe where it's justified with the relevance or the potential of relevance for some of that information, because from the very beginning, the state's position has been it has no bearing on the case. It will not have any bearing on trial. But I allowed the access to what I thought was potentially relevant and to allow your experts. Now, allowing your experts to view that information. So let me just kind of move into the other clarification, because I also understand, particularly relevance of mitigation. Okay, what your investigators need to cover. They likely have to have contact with Mr. Kohberger's family, and that we're not. I don't think we're talking about that kind of investigation. I mean, that is your responsibility. It's also your responsibility to dig in wherever you have to. I mean, I think you're required to do that. So my balancing responsibility is to keep it in control to some degree. So I guess what I'm asking is that I have some justification for making contact with certain families that may have no bearing whatsoever on the case, unless it's in mitigation or something like that. Now, the DNA issues, especially, I mean, maybe especially in the IgG, it has to have some relevance if there's some context, okay, that connects to the case itself. That's how I'm looking at it. I might be wrong, but so you can respond. Okay.
All right, we're talking about a couple of different things here. With our request for clarification, I was talking specifically about people that are already known to our team that we may be in contact with, friends, direct family, parents, sisters, aunts and uncles.
And
Those
can I interrupt you just for one
Sure.
second? That has no relevance to the IgG information that you were given.
Those are people we already knew before.
Okay.
So I want clarification that I can continue to talk to the Kohberger family.
Yes.
I want to make sure I'm not running afoul of court order.
I want to be appropriate.
I want to be really clear who I'm asking for to have access to the IgGs. It's not our mitigation investigator. That our mitigation investigator, I think the court heard me talk about going 3 generations back to do her work. That's required under the ADA. I'm not talking about her. She wouldn't have access to this. I'm talking about our criminal investigators dealing with the innocence space for Brian. Those are the people that I think should have access to the same materials under the same protective order. They're not doing the generations back. None of the IgG materials would be used for that part of the mitigation work. She's doing her own thing, our mitigation investigator, looking backwards as she's supposed to at the things she needs to. That's not the IgG materials. So putting aside that investigator and thinking of only our criminal investigators that are going to be dealing with our innocence phase of the case. Those are the investigators that I'd like to have access. They're the investigators that participate in the meeting with our experts. They're the investigators that help us put the timeline together to understand different things that were happening in the case before Brian's name was ever spoken by anybody. And we're missing that big piece about why was Brian's name spoken and how does that connect to the other pieces that we have. That's what our criminal investigators are going to do. They're not looking at IgG materials, if allowed, to do any of the mitigation work. That's separate and apart. So I want to make sure that that's really clear. Also, when we're talking about whether something is relevant or not, I think that we're thinking of the standard for information to come out in court. That's not what I'm talking about. The court found that the IgG information was material under the discovery rules to the defense and allowed us to have access to some. It's for that same purpose and under that same rule that we're asking the court to allow our investigators to have access to the same materials. Whether or not any of this is something that comes into the court, into trial, that's a question to be answered later. I can see how, I think, this is why I'm really happy to have our experts involved, but I can see a way that there may be a motion practice that happens that relates to this. I'm not there yet.
That's where I'm because if you have these experts, okay, go through this. I've been through all this information, and so if you can go, using your experts, and your experts kind of can tell me and state that you need to investigate particular people, okay, that were involved in this, then we can have a hearing about it. But I'm not quite ready to be convinced that without getting this information from the experts that we're gonna find some pathway, okay, that's going to be helpful to Mr. Kohberger.
If, I mean, this is
I don't
your
know.
courtroom, so if that's what you want to do, we can. I'm here. We waited a while to come to this hearing. I'm asking for it all with a protective order. If we do it the other way, we can do it. It's just everything takes time. And if that's the preference, that's okay. The court knows and would order us to not reach out to any of the people in this material, and we wouldn't do any of that. If we have a motion to file that references any of the content of the materials, that would be filed under seal. These are sealed items. If there was a hearing, I would guess the court would have a chance to look at the filings before granting me a hearing and hear from the state, and that would be sealed. I'm not asking our investigators have access to run out and start interviewing people. I'm asking they have access to not be shut out of conversations, considering what this means and how our client came to the attention of law enforcement, and to plug things into the timeline of us trying to understand how we got from November 13th to December 29th. That's it, not to go out and try to talk to people. I can just see that there's a potential motion to be filed, but that wouldn't be contacting anybody at all. That would be a motion for the court.
That's reassuring. I mean, that's one of the concerns. I mean, pulling a lot of other people into the case that, are completely innocent and don't even have any connection to the situation. So let me go back to Ms. Jennings. Do you have any response to any of this?
No, Your Honor, I'll just reiterate that Ms. Taylor keeps discussing their ability to just understand the timeline. Again, you're very familiar with the materials. Understanding the timeline and how we got from November 13th to December 29th is all laid out in that letter. None of the other materials are going to answer their questions regarding the timeline. So ask that they be given access to that, named investigators to that letter.
Thank you. You may remember a few hearings in the past that the state from the very beginning said there was no, that played no I don't know how to even, it wasn't, when I asked them in the hearing that, did you use the IDG, any of the information of the IDG to get the warrant, to get Mr. Kohberger's DNA, that was not part of it. So in terms of the time frame, don't know that it's that complicated, because a lot of what happened in the time frame happened before that. Now, that's up to you to dig into that, obviously, but there was a lot of information in the letter too, just their sequence of using the IgG at all. So we're going to have to sort this out, obviously, but going back to what I'd like to do is just get some justification for digging in deeper, if necessary. And I'm not sure it's necessary, but I'm going to keep an open mind about that. So for right now, I would say, let's just get your experts looking at the IGG stuff and exactly what they can read from that. And we'll go from there. Okay. Now, with regard to your clarification, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that your investigators can't contact people that they've already contacted without relying on the IGT information. That work for now.
Yes, Your Honor. Our mitigation expert has done her own family tree based on her work, and she has nothing to do with the IGG material. She's not an expert that would have access to that. She's not named. So she needs to keep doing what she's doing as far as her work goes. And I think the proper clarification is that the IGG materials will not be used to develop any investigative leads.
I think that's fair. And what Ms. Jennings proposed in language in their response to your motion, is that something that you would object to at this point? I'm sure you probably read that language.
I did read it. It's a little bit less straightforward, but I think it covers it. It allows me to continue to speak to the people I'm speaking to and that I need to speak to that are on my list.
Okay. Anything else about that?
No.
These issues. Okay. Ms. Jennings?
No.
Okay, great. Okay, the next question I had is, I know that Mr. Kohberger filed for permissive appeal to the Supreme Court. And I just wondered what you know about that, because I have heard nothing about that. I know it was filed.
I know the state filed their objection, and that's the last that I recall seeing about it.
Yes. So at this point, we don't know if the Supreme Court is going to take it. Okay, we don't know that. You know anything else, Mr. Thompson?
Not other than the state's response was filed by the appellate division of the Attorney General's office. And I think we're just waiting to hear from the Supreme Court at this point.
Correct, Your Honor. We're just waiting to hear from the Supreme Court. I can tell you there's no deadline in the rule for them. They didn't include a deadline for themselves. And in my experience, it can take anywhere from a couple weeks to a month or so. So at this point, we're just waiting to hear.
So I don't know the answer to this. If it's filed, does that pause what we need to do here, or do we just pause it only when they pick it up?
My read of the rules, Your Honor, is the latter, that we continue as we are unless and until they decide to take it, and then they would decide at that point what exactly is paused and not paused.
Okay, thank you. Anything else about that, Ms. Taylor?
No, thank you, Chair.
Mr. Thompson?
No, sir.
All right, I think we're now to schedule. Starting with, there was a request on change of venue, maybe late April, you were saying.
Yes, Your Honor, either that last week of April, I think it starts the 29th and 30th, or the first or second week of May for the actual hearing is when we'd request. And we would ask that we have until maybe the second week of April to get our initial briefing in, and then the state's response and our reply after that.
So what are you thinking would be the hearing? Like, give me a day or a week.
I would say that first full week of May, maybe that's May 5th or May 6th.
All right, thank you. Okay. Ms. Beatty, Ben? Right?
Your Honor, we're asking the court to either deny this motion for change of venue as premature or to set a hearing date closer to the trial date when that trial date gets set. And the reason for that is when courts look to change of venue and whether or not that's appropriate, the courts look to affidavits that have been filed. Importantly, they look to what jurors say, prospective jurors say during the voir dire process. Another thing that courts look to is the amount of media coverage and the proximity of that media coverage and the intensity of that media coverage to the trial. So in this case, I think we don't have sufficient information to even determine whether or not that's appropriate without seeing what prospective jurors actually say. But B, we're far enough out from trial that we can't really gauge that anyway. So we would ask the court to either deny that motion at this time or to set a hearing further down the road and closer to trial. If we do proceed to hearing, the state would just ask for a scheduling order. At this point, the defense has filed a motion. They did not file any affidavits, disclose any experts. They haven't even filed a supporting memorandum. And so we're not even sure what specific cases they're relying upon. So we can't really respond substantively to that motion until it's briefed. So we would ask the court to set a briefing schedule as well. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Well, my interpretation was that they were going to give us a lot of information, affidavits, maybe testimony for the hearing. Was that right, Ms. Taylor?
Your Honor, you're right. The motion was to put everybody on notice that we'd like to have this addressed. We do intend to have a presentation for the court. We do intend to have briefing for the state. I anticipated we'd get that scheduled today. But no, I didn't file it as a motion. I filed it to put everybody on notice that it's coming, and I think we need to address it. I think we need to address it before a trial setting. It doesn't make sense to set a trial, get right up to it, and then have to have everybody who's under subpoena rescheduled and have to have the public and the families of everybody disappointed because we're going to reset it at the last minute. So I think we should take care of whether or not the court should change venue sooner rather than later, especially given the length that this trial is anticipated to go. We'll need to schedule a courtroom either here or in another county in Idaho. I mean, we'll need some advance notice to get that done because it'll take a long time to try this case.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor. Thank you, Ms. Beatty.
And Your Honor, the state is asking for a briefing schedule so that we're not in a situation where the state is learning for the first time during a hearing what experts the defendant might be calling and what their arguments are. We would ask that all of that information be disclosed prior to hearing, including the CVs of any experts that will be testifying.
Well, that's certainly what I would expect. But it's quite sticky, right? To think, you're going to wait until ready to seating the jury, which is probably a 2-week process in this case. And then figure out, hey, we can't seat a jury, so we have to move the trial. At the same time, how do you really know if there's some prejudice without trying to seat a jury? It's really a catch-22.
And all of the logistical concerns that Ms. Taylor is describing are totally correct. The problem is that is what the law requires, and that is what the case law says. The case law does contemplate that. So certainly it's correct to note that there are going to be logistical challenges to that, but that's what the case law requires. But even if the court weren't inclined to wait until we're actually going through the voir dire process, at a minimum, I think it would be appropriate for the court to look to some jury questionnaires and at least go through that process.
Okay. This morning I was looking at State versus Haddon, where that was, you're probably very familiar with that, but that's Court of Appeals case, 2012, I believe. And there was a request to change venue well before the trial. The judge denied that, and then it came up again when they were trying to seat the jury, and then the judge denied that at that point, but kind of a double step to figure out if it was necessary. I've been struggling with this, for months, and so it's hard to know. Now, that doesn't mean that one of the parties can't present evidence, and the standard is kind of squishy, in my opinion, but they can provide that kind of information well before the trial. At the same time, I want to make sure that the state has the opportunity to respond to whatever information the Mr. Kohberger is going to present. So now I'm scratching my head about, well, is May, first week of May, does that allow enough time? Does that allow it enough time for you, Ms. Taylor?
Your Honor, I think it does. I can present the information to the state. I can have my briefing and I can have affidavits and let them know of any witness that I want to call. I can do that probably by the beginning of the second week of April. And that would give them, if we do this in May, that would give them ample time to read it over and respond to what we intend to present.
Thank you. Ms. Beatty, what are your thoughts?
Your Honor, as far as the duration of time between the briefing and the hearing, the state has no concerns about that. The state would just have concerns about those factors that the courts require us to look to as far as the timing of the hearing compared to the timing of trial. But as far as a briefing schedule prior to the hearing itself, that timeline makes sense to the state.
Well, let's explore that just for a moment. Because I've been thinking about the setting of trial. Well, also for months, but I listened very carefully to Ms. Taylor and Mr. Thompson in our last hearing, and I really, it wasn't clear that I'm not really happy about setting the trial in 2025. It seems so far away. Now, it's not just, doesn't just affect Mr. Kohberger and his defense, but there's a lot of other considerations. So I am trying to be fair and realistic, okay, about when we could really be ready for trial. Now we want to do it once, okay? So let me go first to you, Mr. Thompson, about when. I know that it's been complicated, the discovery. I mean, you have these different agencies, FBI, state police, the state lab. We've got Moscow Police Department, Latah County, Pullman Law Enforcement, Pennsylvania Law Enforcement. And I think you mentioned it's hard to get all this stuff together. And that is one of the things that has delayed setting the trial, not to mention the motions about the grand jury procedures, also the issues about the investigative genetic genealogy issues. And I'm kind of curious, okay, when do you think that you will be completely finished with providing discovery to the defense?
Judge, most current projection that we have would probably be at the end of the summer. The majority of the discovery has been provided. That's not to say that Mr. Kohberger has been able to, and his defense team been able to digest it all, because it is substantial as an understatement. We are still awaiting information that the defense both wants and needs to have, and we're going back through all of the discovery to make sure that nothing's been overlooked. We have 2 members of our team, an attorney and a legal assistant, who are essentially assigned full time to that task. And that's projecting we got from them. It could be up to 6 months, which would put us with initial discovery completion at the end of August, 1st of September of this year.
Because last time you were talking about August for the trial.
Sure enough. And that's what we had hoped for. And when we filed our motion for trial setting scheduler back in December, a couple months ago, we felt that was realistic. And as we are looking at where we are right now, I'm not sure that it is. We know that the defense has already indicated that just on the death penalty alone, they will be filing multiple motions, and many of them very lengthy. We've seen the same filings in the Nez Perce County homicide case that recently resolved. Those I could see taking a couple months in and of themselves to address, in addition to motions that actually directly relate to the merits of this trial, discovery, motions of limine, and that sort of thing. Our team met again this morning with our companions from the chief's office here in Moscow, and we actually have a proposal to make to the court for a trial date and a scheduling order, if Your Honor is interested.
I'm very interested. I'll tell you before you say anything about that.
Yes, sir.
I was looking at whether or not it was realistic and fair. Okay, trying to be compromising to some degree. I think it was March 3rd, 2025.
Well, Your Honor, it just happens to be in pink highlight on my pad here, March 3rd, 2025 for trial.
Okay, I had no idea. I wasn't reading your mind or anything, but I thought that's about the mid, and I remember, Ms. Taylor, that you said that would be the soonest you could be ready.
And that was if everything went right from that point.
And I remember that.
And
too.
it hasn't. It hasn't. But I'll hear what their proposals are.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Thompson.
Thank you, Judge. So we would propose that the court set March 3rd of 2025 as the start of trial. We would propose a September 6th, 2024 preliminary discovery deadline that would include exhibits known at that time. November 8th, 2024 for the defendant's discovery deadline that would give them a chance to respond to any last minute discovery that comes out from the state. February 7th of 2025 for the state to disclose any basically reply or rebuttal to what we've learned from the defense discovery. That would include rebuttal experts. The defense's deadline would also necessarily have to include their mitigation evidence. We would suggest the court consider a final pretrial conference, kind of the pretrial wrap-up details conference for the week of February 12th to 16th, 2025. Since the death penalty related motions are already known and they aren't dependent on discovery, we would ask that any death penalty related motions defense have be filed by September 6th of this year, that the state have until October 11th to respond. The defense can then reply by October 25th and schedule a hearing during the week of November 4th through the 8th of this year. So we can get that wad of 12, 18, however many of those motions are going to be filed, we can get that handled. We would suggest that the court direct the jury questionnaires, if we can't agree on one, that the record suggestions from the state and the defense be to the court by November 1st of this year. That would give the court the opportunity to finalize a jury questionnaire that the court is comfortable with, and it can be ready at the start of the next calendar year, which is when the next jury pool would be polled or would be drawn. And the court can, at that point, get questionnaires out to an initial panel and can assess in a timely fashion, are we really going to have venue issues in the early part of next year as we approach March 3rd. We propose the jury instructions exhibit list be exchanged by January 31st of 2025. And finally, as to pretrial motions, which would be case-specific motions, motions in limine and those sorts of things, the deadline for filing, that would be November 22nd of this year, with the understanding that parties can file them early. And the state already has been developing a list of various pretrial motions in limine that we think we'd like the court to consider, and we can file those early. But the deadline would be November 22nd, responses by December 13th, replies by December 20th, and then schedule a hearing on any of those pretrial motions sometime during the week of January 6th through the 10th. And I think
You have to write that down.
I have it all written down.
I started.
Yes, sir. And we can get it to you in writing. That's not a problem.
Okay. Ms. Taylor, so if things aren't going perfectly, of course they never do.
They never do, Judge. They never do. And I'll say it again. Death is different. This is a capital case. I've heard the court say the court only wants to do it once. I've heard the court ask, what can I do to speed things up? I need discovery. I need all of the discovery. I need the things that we've asked for. I need to not have to fight in motions to compel for things that was done on behalf of the state by the FBI that ends up being used against Brian or used in the investigation. I need that stuff. I need, when I ask for something, I need to get it rather than have to go back and ask and ask and ask again. And I'm not saying anything mean about Bill Thompson. I'm just not. I think he tries his very best, but I think he's hampered by the agencies and the information he gets from them. I can give you some examples. We asked for x-rays. We were told they don't exist. They're listed repeatedly in reports. We asked for them again. And I'm not sure if I'm getting them or not. The response is we have thumbnails, but we haven't found the actual x-rays. There's one example. I asked for certain mapping data done by a member of the CAS team. They said, you have it all. I said, no, I don't. I only have November 29th. And they said, oh, well, I guess we just didn't get that. Something didn't copyright. And I'm not saying anything mean about Bill or his office. I'm saying this is really difficult to drag the information out and get it to my experts or to understand it. And to hear that we're going to have a discovery deadline by the end of August is great. I need to have every piece of everything. I then have to have time to double check and make sure I really got it. I need to have time to get it to my experts and for them to have an opportunity to understand how that impacts their opinions, if at all. So I'm prepared for this case. And then we need time to get things to the state and for them to respond to what we send to them too. I know that this court wants to set this trial. These kinds of cases don't happen in a year. They don't happen in 2 years. They take a long time. This case is challenged with the way discovery has come at us. I'll give you another example. I open up, I get them and I list them in my computer by date. At one point, I gave the court a printout of that so the court could see how I'm getting it. And when I look in a folder, it has subfolders. And I might get some reports from Moscow Police Department with an FBI report. And an FBI report might reference an email. It might reference a photograph. It might reference a screenshot of a picture or of a phone that they took when they interviewed somebody. That's not with it. So maybe a few months later, I get some photos that has these screenshots in. And now I have to try to figure out who gave that screenshot, whose phone did that come from, which officer did that interview, and get them matched up and figure out if it's somebody I need to talk to. So not only do we have a huge volume of information, the way I get it is completely disorganized. And it's like if you wanted to play 52 card pickup with 100,000 decks of cards and throw them in the air, and I have to go figure out how to put them together. And by the way, the backs of every one of those cards look the same. That's what I'm doing. We also have science questions in this case. We have DNA, we have cell phone analysis, we have video analysis. The video analysis that the state really likes in this case, I don't have the full scope of that video with audio that should be available. They're working on it, they really are. I don't think they're not working on it. I'm just saying this is a real thing that takes time. And then you have the public nature of this case, and people don't want to talk to us. They're not wanting to talk to us. So we have to try to get witnesses, people that are listed in the state's discovery, to talk to us. We have our duties that are required with mitigation because there's no break. I don't get to go to trial on the innocence phase. And then if something goes wrong and Brian's not acquitted, I don't get time to go prepare that mitigation. I have to take another breath and start right there. So I have to have time to do all of that. Our mitigation expert is working as quickly as she can. She is meeting a lot of resistance to collect records and to conduct interviews. We're working through that as best we can. She has travel obligations to try to interview people. These things take time. I want all the discovery by the end of August. I love the discovery deadline by September 6th. That does not allow me enough time to get ready for trial by March 3rd. That deadline, that cutoff for us to get mitigation materials, that's impossible. That's just impossible. We've got the year pretty well scheduled out with what travel still needs to happen and what records still need to be obtained. So to have that to the state, I think they said by September, October, that's just impossible. I would request that this court take up our venue motion in May, make a decision on venue, and let's see where we can get with the discovery. I still need to read every bit of discovery that's come, and I haven't. I scan it when I get it, but to go page by page and read it and understand what it means, I'm not through 2023. I have a long ways to go. So I don't think that is realistic to set it. I think if you set it for March, I'm going to be back here after the discovery deadline, and I'm going to be telling you there's no way that we're going to be ready for trial. I would rather this court set the change of venue, make that determination. Let's see where we get with the discovery by May. Probably the court would have a decision by the end of May, early June. Let's see where we are with discovery by then and set a realistic day. I hope we can go by summer of 2025.
Well, thank you, Ms. Taylor. I can help in any way to speed things with, if there's problems with discovery, I'm happy to do that on very short notice, just so that we can keep going. But you say, it'd be fantastic if you got all the discovery by August. Your mitigation person has been working already, right? And just to know that I'm not being insensitive about this, I did read the ABA supplementary guidelines for mitigation function of defense teams in death penalty cases, and it's huge. Okay, I get it. There are so many things that if you don't do, then it comes back as, well, you were ineffective. And those standards are high standards for sure. And it obviously takes a lot of time. So, but I'm also thinking, if you get all the discovery, if you can, assuming that, which may be inaccurate, for the end of August, you're saying that you wouldn't be able to respond to all of that, assuming that it's even earlier, that you could not be ready for the beginning of March 2025.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying I love that discovery deadline. Let's shoot for that. And I think that would help me make a June 2025 trial. I think once we have that discovery, and I agree, we can file the challenges to the death penalty earlier, but the challenges to some of the things that are going to be contained in discovery, those we need to see it all and see how it interplays. I can do some things early, but I may be coming back and asking the court to reconsider if it doesn't go our way and we found something that we didn't have. I think a discovery cutoff is great. And I think the court has to manage that discovery. If we finally are up to the eve of trial and there ends up being a whole new dump of discovery, then the court has to look at that discovery and understand, is it exculpatory? Is it something that we didn't have a chance to prepare for? It should be excluded. If it relates to anything to do with the death penalty portion of the case, then the court's going to be asked to strike the death penalty. I mean, the discovery deadline is critical in this case. So I love that. I love that. What that means, if I have all the discovery by the end of August this year, it means that there is a stopping point where I can know I have it all. So I can confidently get the motions filed. I can confidently tell my experts, this is it. This is the scope of what you have to do. And I can have some space to read it all and understand it and get ready for witnesses too. If the court makes that deadline, know that mitigation is not going to be done by then. But if the court makes that discovery deadline, and then we follow that with our motion practice, and then our deadlines for expert disclosures and whatever's going to come from that, and our mitigation, we should be in good shape by June of 2025 to try the case. If we have that discovery come up, I think that's a great idea.
Ms. Taylor, Mr. Thompson.
Trying to figure out where to start first. Yes, discovery is massive. Yes, there have been things that Mr. Kohberger has asked for that we've inquired, and we were initially told, no, you don't have that. And then we have gone back at the prompting of the defense saying, you sure? I mean, it ought to be there. And for example, x-rays for the autopsy. Well, we just got those. The first came in with thumbnails. In today's discovery, Ms. Taylor's going to have the full size, which we were able to obtain when we saw he gave us thumbnails. These are useless. Get us the real thing. And through the coroner's office, we were able to finally achieve that. According to Ms. Jennings, we are better than 95% complete on discovery. So we're getting close. There are some things that are outstanding. There are some issues with what information is actually available to us. We have given Mr. Kohberger everything that we haven't asked for a protective order on or had some sort of dispute about. And we've given it to them, and frankly, in the order it's come in, instead of waiting to try to package it together and give it to them in a different format, just because they want it as quickly as possible. And I appreciate that. And we're going to continue doing that. It's going to benefit to have deadlines for everybody to have to work for here. I don't think just setting a deadline for state's discovery does anything other productive other than that initial stage. So if we're going to set discovery deadlines, we need a state's discovery deadline. We need a defense discovery deadline within a reasonable time after that and a reasonable time before trial, because we're going to then have to investigate whatever the defense tells us they might be using. And then, of course, an opportunity after we see what the defense is proposing or is disclosing to rebut that in some fashion and give notice of that. So that package of 3 days are important. Pre-trial motion on the death penalty, I think that's important. We need deadlines, so just get it done and over with. And both teams can prioritize based on the timelines what needs to be done when. I don't know the first thing about what's going on with defense's mitigation. Apparently it's been going on for a while. It sounds like it's going to be massive. That's something that we just don't have any insight to. We think that our proposals are realistic. We appreciate the fact that something could happen where it turns out that they aren't realistic, that something happens and we have to revisit. And I think we need to be prepared to do that. I think the last thing that I want to touch on real quick is the proposal to set a state's discovery deadline and set hearings on the change of venue is inadequate. As we've indicated, change of venue under the law, that motion is premature. We need to be able to give the court the benefit of what impacts publicity, for example, is having on our actual jury pool. We know there's publicity. Everybody can agree. There's been massive publicity, not just in Latah County, but I see more about it in Boise or hear about it from other parts of the state than what we're seeing locally. And so the massive publicity, that's a red herring, realistically. There's publicity everywhere about this. The issue is whether the publicity and the nature of this case is such that we cannot pick a fair and impartial jury in this county. And of course, we know that just being aware of publicity about a case does not disqualify a juror. There has to be a showing that that publicity or whatever has impacted the juror to the point where that juror cannot sit in this box as a fair and impartial juror and make a decision based only on the evidence presented in this courtroom. That's the issue that Your Honor is going to have to decide on the change of venue question. And you can't do that based on a bunch of affidavits from experts who say, Judge, there's been a lot of publicity. That doesn't cut it. So I think just having a state's discovery deadline and trying to prematurely move forward with motion for change of venue is not the right approach. We think that the proposals that we've made are reasonable, understanding Ms. Hayward has concerns about whether she's going to be able to meet those. And I think there are enough stages in there that if that becomes a reality, there's the opportunity for us to discuss that. Like everybody here, we only want to do this once. We do not want to invite error that we can avoid. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Thompson. Can I,
yes,
I think you said maybe you're like 98% on.
But probably a little bit more than 95% is what Ms. Jennings just told me.
Okay. So if it's 95%, I mean, is it possible that it could be done before the end of August?
It's possible, and we aren't going to wait till the end of August to do anything. We will continue to disclose information as we receive it. I mean, that's not fair to the defense. That's not fair to anybody. Just sit on stuff and dump it. So we are hopeful that it'll be finished by then, but we don't want to have to face a deadline that we think there's a chance could be difficult to meet. And that's why we propose the early September date, which would be essentially 6 months from now.
September 6th, that's what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Taylor, you said that would be fantastic.
That would be fantastic, Your Honor. And Your Honor can give us a January 2025 deadline if the court wants to set a discovery deadline for us too. Expert disclosures, I think maybe would take a little bit longer, maybe February 2025. The court gives us a deadline for expert disclosures. I want to comment on the motion for venue change. Your Honor, because I filed a motion and the court doesn't have affidavits or the briefing to understand how we're going to approach this doesn't make it untimely. I'm fully aware that the massive amount of media coverage by itself isn't all of it. But I'm also aware that this case has had more media coverage than most other cases, and it continues. So there is an impact of that. There are other considerations besides just the massive amount of media and an impact on potential jurors. That's what we're going to talk about. I think it's timely. I think it's appropriate to set a change of venue motion. I think it is what makes the most sense for the court to make that determination and set a trial date from there. If the court sets one here and has to change it later, a lot of things have gone into play to get that trial date set here, to get the courtroom reserved, and a lot of people realize waiting until the court has heard the information, more than affidavits saying there's mass amount of media coverage, the court can make that determination. If the court agrees to change venue at that time, then it makes a lot more sense to just set that trial from there. I would think by the end or by May, when we can have a hearing, I would think I would have a better handle maybe on the process the state's going through now with its discovery. I will continue to make the utmost effort to get all the way through every piece of what I have now and continue to follow up with questions to the state so that we can try to have this discovery issue put aside. once we have the discovery completed, I think that we're going to have a lot better idea of what the motion practice is going to look like and how long that's going to take. And it'll be a more realistic way to disclose experts to one another with the materials that's required under Idaho Rule of Evidence 702. I think that's a better way to go, even though you might not set a trial date today, because at least you'll set one that's really informed that maybe everybody can rely on.
Thank you. Well, I want to make an informed decision about changing venue, and it makes sense to me. I mean, it may be premature, but I'd like to see what the defense has to say about that, what you're going to present. So, unless I'm just curious to hear, yes, I can always deny it. But if it's sufficiently strong and persuasive, then maybe it makes sense to do that. Obviously, just for personal reasons, I don't particularly want to go to another county for 12 weeks or 2 weeks. Necessary. I mean, we'll do what we need to do, but I'm not, as I sit here, I'm not persuaded that we necessarily have to change it. I think that's an automatic. And there are a lot of factors, and that's one of the reasons why I was looking at this patent case, which is that's court of appeals, but it goes through all of the other cases that have dealt in this issue. So I'm thinking, you said mid-April that you would be able to file all of your declarations, affidavits, whatever you're going to do. Let the state know that who is going to testify. If you're going to have witnesses to testify, presumably experts. We got a taste of that, sometime at the beginning of one of our hearings. So maybe I'll hear the same witness. I don't know. But so we'll say April 17th.
Yes, I can make
Okay.
that.
And maybe we say the state has enough time to have their response by May 1st. What do you think? Okay.
I think that's appropriate, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. Because there may be experts on the other side too. So, and I expect the information that you're going to present both sides and with a brief. So obviously. And I'm going to be in Boise the next week. You actually have other cases. Be surprised. How do you feel about afternoon of May 20th? That's a little far out, but we were already been talking about maybe having a trial starting in June. So
Your Honor, can I have it before May 25th? A witness I anticipate is not going to be available starting May 25th. Starting May 25th, I think, for 2 weeks. So if I could have it ahead of May 25th, that way we
if you have a jury trial that week, May 20th. This afternoon of May 14, give you enough time, Ms. Beatty?
That was May 14th, Your Honor.
May 14, that's Tuesday.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll say, how about 1:30?
Sounds great, Your Honor.
Okay, 1:30, May 14. I am going to make a determination about that presentation on change of venue before I set the trial. It could still be March 3rd, or maybe beginning of yeah, that's 2024. I know. I'm just still thinking of 2024. But it's hard. It is hard for me to think it is so far out. But I'm listening carefully to both sides, and it's a complicated case, and it's a death penalty case, and that adds a lot of it really does. So I'm gonna hold. I would like you to send me your scheduling list, and I will think about that. We're going to have a deadline of September 6th for discovery from the state. And Ms. Taylor, did you say beginning of January?
Yes.
Okay, January. Give me a date.
9th.
9th. Okay, good. Good job. All right. And that'll be 2025. Ms. Beatty.
Could we address one more deadline briefly?
Yes, of course. You all give me deadlines. I'll write them down.
Thank you, Your Honor. There's been an ongoing discussion beginning most recently with the state's request for scheduling order, and I believe Ms. Taylor briefly addressed it at the last hearing. There's been an ongoing discussion about the alibi deadline, and the state is asking the court to either limit the defendant to presenting evidence about the disclosure that he made related to the alibi, which was that he was driving around the night of the homicides, but not allowing any further discussion or evidence of an alibi, given the amount of time that has passed since the state requested that alibi disclosure. Alternatively, since it was in the court's scheduling order initially prior to the trial getting vacated, we would ask the court to set a 10-day deadline now, because that is consistent with the alibi statute. The state does not believe it is appropriate to tie the alibi to the jury trial date in this case. The statute that sets forth that 10-day timeline is completely separate from Rule 16 and other discovery deadlines through the litigation process. I think at this point, there has been so much time that has passed, and it has frankly causes the state great alarm that the defense is discussing calling upwards of 400 witnesses during the innocence phase when we don't have, potentially don't have a full alibi disclosure. And when you look at cases regarding appeals from issues that arise during alibis that come up at trial, these cases are all defendants appealing a conviction because the state doesn't get a second chance. If the state gets ambushed at trial, that's it for us. We're asking the court to hold the defendant to a fair alibi deadline, and I think that the time has come. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, well, my understanding was that was it, but I may be wrong. Ms. Taylor.
No. When the court vacated the trial setting, the court vacated all of the deadlines, including the alibi deadline. That wasn't carved out as one that was still held through when the court vacated the rest of its scheduling order. So I don't think that we're foreclosed from that. The court also has the ability to give an extension besides the limited time by statute. In this case, it's more than Brian was just driving around. We have let the state and the court know that we expect that that will be supported by expert testimony and by cross-examination of the state's experts. I need their full cast report and the rest of the discovery related to that before I can say more about that. So to tie me to a deadline when I don't have the rest of the discovery that I've been waiting for that would relate to that will mean that I will be back asking the court to reopen it. My expert can't finish until I get the rest of the discovery as well.
And the discovery you're talking about is a video of the car.
No, I
What do you?
So the video that we talk about is one that I think the state's going to use in its case that I don't have full video on, that I'm not talking about any video of Brian's car. When I'm talking about an alibi defense, unless there's video that shows it elsewhere that I haven't gotten to yet, which may be possible given the fact that there's a lot I haven't seen yet. What I'm talking about though is the CAST report, the drive testing information.
CAST report meaning the identification of the particular car.
That is the cell tower information.
I'm with you.
So what that is going to show and what the drive testing data is going to show and what other reports related to that are going to be things that my expert needs to finish our investigation and things that I need to formulate my cross-examination against the state's expert. So when I'm telling you that I'm going to do those things in alibi, I can't tell you more than that right now, but that's how we're going to support Brian's alibi, that he was out driving that night.
Okay, so you're saying that you have not received the cell tower reports?
I have some data. Some cell tower data, some phone record data. I have a draft of a CAST report. The most recent information I have CAST is the FBI doing their work. The most recent information I have is that on March 31st, they expect for that report to be done through the peer review process. So I may get it a month from now. I need to get it to my expert to digest. There's materials that support their report that I don't have full disclosure of. And the state's aware of it. I think they're working on it. And maybe they're on that drive that I'll pick up today, but I haven't had them yet.
So you expect to get that in mid-March?
I expect to get their report after March 31st, after it's done. The supporting data, I'm not sure when it's coming. They tell me it's coming.
Okay, I'm gonna kick it back to the state.
Your Honor, I guess I'm a little confused because if
I obviously am too. So
okay. I'm confused because if the defendant's alibi is that he was out driving around that night, I'm not sure what additional information his cell data could add to an actual alibi defense. It seems like what the defense is asking for, and they're being completely upfront about it, and I appreciate that. But what they're asking to do is essentially double check all the discovery before disclosing their alibi, and that's not what the purpose of an alibi deadline is. In fact, it's quite the opposite. There is case law that describes that given the ease with which an individual could fabricate an alibi, and certainly that's not what the state is accusing the defendant of doing. I'm using language that is in case law, though. Given the ease with which an individual can fabricate an alibi, that is a very legitimate deadline. It's a reasonable deadline. It's a reasonable demand of the litigation process. There is a reason why there is a 10-day deadline in the statute, and that is because the defendant is able to tell his counsel where he was that night. They can work together and formulate a defense, and they can disclose an alibi. That is the whole purpose of an alibi deadline. The state has complied with the discovery up to this point. We will continue to comply with discovery. We are disclosing everything that we have to the defense when we get it, unless there's some protective order issue. We are asking that the court hold the defense to a fair standard that has been set forth in this statute and that is constitutional under the United States Constitution and the Idaho's Constitution, that has been repeatedly upheld by the United States Supreme Court and the Idaho Supreme Court. Thank you.
Okay, I maybe dropped the ball, but went through the cracks that I didn't. I guess what I interpreted that as that was it for what we were going to hear about where he was and how he was established, the evidence that he was in a particular place. So once again, trying to be compromising, I'm going to give you until April 17th. You can submit the other information that you need to find for payment. And that should be plenty of time because you're going to get some additional information from FBI apparently by the end of March. And we can talk more about that later at the hearing on the motion for change of order. So that gives you some cushion. I'm not going to set it for 10 more days, but I am setting that. And the reason for that is so we don't have an ambush at the trial. I mean, that's why that is established as a law. Okay. Well, I think we've gotten somewhere. And is there anything else we need to address today, Mr. Thompson?
I don't believe so, Judge. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Taylor?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you all. We are adjourned.
All right. Wow.
My head hurts now.
Well, I filled a 4.5 pages in a notebook. So I'm kind of like this now. I've been writing and referring to another note. I was busy, guys. Busy because there's a lot to talk about with that. Hold on a minute. Hi.
Hi.
Sorry, I wasn't ignoring you guys. I was just trying to follow through and stick with everything because that was a lot. A lot. That was a lot more than I thought we were going to get. Thank you all for sticking with me. So there's a lot going on here, you guys, that I didn't even realize. First of all, that there is expected more response to the alibi. That's one thing I did not expect. Okay. I thought that the alibi, that just like the judge, I thought that the alibi was it. I thought they were done. Okay. Which explains why maybe a lot of us were disappointed in what we got for an alibi. So at that point, that's interesting to me. Okay. It does seem as though it went well. I will say that Anne, I think Anne is pissed. I think she's done.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, you know, she blatantly stated, look, I if you want these deadlines met, if you want this trial to be able to be scheduled, then I need to be able to get what the hell I'm asking for without having to ask repeatedly again and again and again. And then she clearly stated it's not Bill Thompson. So this tells me, folks, that the FBI and Moscow PD and the ISP are dragging their ass. Whoever has this data, whatever info that needs to be dropped for discovery, they're not giving it to them, and they're giving her pieces and parts of things. Why is that, I wonder? I have so many questions at this point. One of the biggest things I want to know is what the hell is this FBI letter that they're talking about? It's a police summary that they keep referring to that seems to have all the answers. Obviously, it's not something we're going to see. I'd love it if they would drop this document, but whatever. It's not. It's not something we're going to get, guys. But that seems to be where the answers are to everything that everybody's asking, in my opinion. Okay, so that is the IGG. Okay, basically is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the IGG itself, and you know. I'm all over the place, so my ADD is left and right, folks. So bear with me, okay?
It's gonna be another roller coaster ride.
This is not gonna happen. Sherry made a comment a while back and said, "See you in 2027." Listen, it's the TUI letter related to exactly. And there's not gonna be. We're never gonna see that, guys. At least not till after, if anything. Excuse me. I don't think there is more discovery. And if there is, like, they're asking for x-rays from the autopsy coming from the coroner's office. Why are you just dropping thumbnails for that instead of giving them? See, in my opinion, the defense should have access to everything that the prosecution has that relates to this, other than, there are things that they don't need. But everything else should go to the defense. They're not getting it. They're not getting it no matter what she asks for. She's not getting it. And again, it's not because of the prosecution. It's because the agencies that have this stuff, they're not coming off of it. And I want to know why. That's what my question is with this. That's why this has turned into the disaster that it is. Why are they not giving it? Why are they not drawing a full picture for everybody to see rather than just giving them the corner of a sketch of something and saying, here you go, why I'm out of here. You know what I mean? That's what it's coming off to be. That's absolutely right, SRB. The defense should be able to log in and get whatever they need. They should be able to refer to get whatever they need. Yeah, Bill himself said that there's more discovery. They're 95% there with it. So there's another 5% of discovery that they haven't been able to turn over yet that the prosecution themselves are still waiting on. Something else that caught my attention before I lose it. The defense are the ones that are going to be calling 400 plus witnesses. That's interesting to me. That's very interesting to me because 400 people in defense of Brian, that's a lot of people, folks.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of testimony, which explains why she's struggling so bad, because they're telling you mitigation and all that, because with whoever the mitigation expert is that's going through all this stuff is running into brick walls left and right. People don't want to talk about this. Again, why? That has been the problem in this case. Why are people not wanting to talk about this? If you want justice for this case from that area, from that city, from that town, then people that are in that area need to speak up and say, hey, this is what I know. This is what happened, right or wrong. There's a gray area here somewhere in that, within that I can't figure it out. And it's very strange to me. If this was my town, I live in a small town, and something like this went down in my town, and I knew something, good or bad, I'm going to go with it and say, here it is. To get this to have this dealt with, to bring justice to these kids the right way. These young adults, I'm sorry. I always think of them as kids, but that's how it should be, you guys. There should be no secrets with this. There should be no public, how can I put this? There should be nobody within that town not wanting to speak about this. And I don't like the conspiracy, but damn. Okay? Damn. Is it what are you hiding? Because that's what it looks like, folks. I don't like that. I don't want to think that way. But damn. I don't seem to have a choice. They're not giving us a choice but to think that way. There's so much more to this than I really was even like contemplating, you guys. So let me go back. I can't believe I wrote that many notes in that period of time. Okay, another big thing is this, she's referred to in the innocence phase with this, okay? Because all of these cases have different phases. The mitigation phase, the innocence phase, blah, 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 so on and so forth, evidential, you know what I mean? One of the innocence phase, she has repeatedly stated that it's generational. It goes back generations. And she keeps referring to the fact that they're speaking with Kohberger's family.
Mm-hmm.
And now this is not on the prosecution side. This is the defense side in defense of Brian Kohberger. I want to know If you put that together in your mind, how does that fit for you guys? If they're talking to people in his family to defend him, and she's referring to going back generations in some senses, who are they talking to? I want to know who they're talking to. That's interesting to me. And how does that defend Brian? Okay. That's what's interesting to me. Let's see. At 12 x-rays, which, at 12, I'm sorry. X-rays would show bruising, but if they had their neck snap, yeah, okay. That does make sense. And that's another big thing right there. If they have this man who is responsible for these murders in jail, in custody, the guy's not crazy, violent, going nuts, doing this or that. He's in their custody, calm and clear. Why does nobody want to talk? Is it out? It shouldn't be out of fear. We have the suspect in custody. What is the deal with this? And I don't want to hear that they want to forget about it. They want it to go away. They don't want to talk about it. That's got to stop at this point. This is not going to go away until this trial is over. Period. It's just not. Okay. Once this trial comes and goes, it's done. Then it will go away. I understand, and I agree with it. People don't want to keep reliving it. Maybe I understand. Okay. But we're not going to get justice for those victims that were murdered in that town until people start talking about this and helping these people get this case rolling.
Mhm.
That's all there is, guy. I mean, that's just common sense, guys.
I said that in the beginning when they subpoenaed
400
Bethany.
witnesses. Right. 400 witnesses, you guys. Damn. I might bring a couple people up, Dive. What were you saying, Sherry? You tried to tell me about what? That's a good question, Brandy. That there is what you said you tried to tell me. What were you trying to say there's Sherry? Yeah, the gag order's still on. But see, the people in the town are not gagged. Any witnesses to this are not gagged to speak with the defense. Oh, yeah. I agree. I get that. And I agree with you. They don't want the media attention. They don't want the negative. And it was being stated there partially in the hearing. Thank you, Sherry. They don't want any kind of negative publicity. It's a college town. People are going to look when they're going online looking to see where can I send my child next year that's going to graduate from high school. Oh, wait a minute. Idaho, no, we don't want that because look what's going on right now.
Mhm.
There's a quadruple homicide murder trial going on. Maybe we should look somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? I get that. So that does make sense, Sherry. I understand, but it's not going to go away, guys, until it goes away. We all know that. And like Sherry said earlier on, see you in 2027. Guys, this is a death penalty case. And I think maybe some of the strategy could be from the defense to get the death penalty taken off the table. If she's going that way, this is just a guess. I'm not saying it's fact. The way she made mention of that, other than having the death penalty stricken, it may not be possible to do the things they want to do unless that happens. Because there are a lot of questions and a lot of motions that have to go into play and be worked through because it's a death penalty case. Elliot says generational DNA, maybe because Brian's mom wasn't his dad's first mistress, therefore Brian has an that's interesting. An illegitimate brother is what I mean. I got you. Maybe the long list brother, an unknown mother, moved across the country to get away from BK's dad. I mean, hey, that is very, very possible. I never thought of that. That's interesting. Because that would explain the father, the whole father thing everybody has. Yeah, Eddie would definitely be interesting for this.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. I'm just saying I'm not saying it's real, folks, that he has an illegitimate brother or anything like that. It is an interesting concept, though. If you think about how hard it is to put some of this together, it's an interesting concept. And please don't take that and go anywhere with it.
Right.
There's theories all over the place. That's just a theory. It's a very interesting theory because it's not something ever crossed my mind. So I'm just saying, I don't think that that's very plausible in this case, but it is very interesting to say the least. But that, I was thinking about the whole generational thing, earlier. Is there an uncle that would come up under the same DNA track? Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know anything about like Brian's father's family. Is there an uncle, a cousin, something like that that would be relatively close? I don't know if it would be as close as what Brian would be, but I'm gonna have to look into that, you guys. It's interesting though. But the 400 witnesses thing really, really took me for a loop. That's a lot of people to talk to. And like I said, they keep running into brick walls left and right because they don't want to talk. Would have to BK would have to have the absolute worst luck ever for an yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. That's what I was thinking. Like that's the worst possible. How did that happen? You know what I mean? I mean, that's like, what are the odds? So I get that. Now, an uncle, a very close cousin, first cousin, maybe, is interesting to me to think about. Like the possibility of that would be the odds are really 1 in a million as well. But Brian's uncle and cousins did move across. Hey, Heather, good to see you. Country away from his dad. Twin uncles of Brian's, and one is dead.
Yes, because remember
yeah.
we did.
Yep, that's right. I just remembered that. Damn.
Man, that's been a long time ago. I'd have to go back and watch that.
Thank you for reminding me. Thank you for reminding me, Miss Heather. Keep that one in mind, Mama Bear.
Mm-hmm.
I do remember that. That's right. The crazy uncle, which that is hereditary, folks. Remember that. That's hereditary. If you have mental illness is very much hereditary. So if the uncle has a child, okay. All right, I got you, Kels. I got you. I see it. One at a time. Calm down. I'm getting it. I'm getting it. I mean, I don't know, Becky. I've never really covered a death penalty case. It could be, but there could be some other things, and they referred to this a lot. A whole lot. They referred to this generational thing, but they've got to talk to. They've got to go back. She said they got to go back generations, and I'm like, okay. So it's interesting, and that goes along with the innocence part of the phase. Okay, so that's what I'm like. Well, okay, I'm trying to put that together. Both uncles are ex-Marine and both have psychology degrees. One passed from cancer. Hey, Bond girl, good to see you. Both Marines, huh? That's interesting.
And psychology degrees.
This whole family should probably be running a psychology,
a psych ward,
used car lot or something. Jesus. Yeah, one of the uncles were twins. One passed away. I did remember that. We did a whole thing on that and never really went anywhere with it. But this is interesting. I'd like to know where they live. Harsh just said, my dad has 18 siblings. I wonder how many times I would meet people that I don't know. Wow. That's an interesting theory.
Wow.
Well, one thing I want to do say is that I'm glad that Anne spoke up for herself and kind of put her foot down in a way and said, listen, if you want something from me, then you got to give me something to get that. Okay. That was interesting to me. Fraternal twins don't have identical DNA like identical twins. That's true because my twins have identical DNA. But I don't know.
Mine are fraternal.
See, I don't know if that matters in this sense, though. SRB is if it based on the amount of DNA that was used. Misty says, I think it has to do with the grandparents. Okay.
Yeah, Bond Girl, that's right. They do live in Nevada, Las Vegas area. I remember that now. It's coming back slowly.
Yes. This was a long time ago that we were at this. I don't think she's a bad attorney either. She disappointed me a little bit before, but I also told myself, you know, I got to think about what her strategy and tactics are. This was interesting today to me, at least.
I'm sorry, Stumped. That won't happen here.
What happened?
They got booted off another chat because they spoke against what the woman was saying.
No, and it better not happen here because whoever does that will be gone. I will not put up with that at all. Every single person in here has the
You got a hairball? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I was cleaning myself earlier today and I got a hairball. Sorry guys. No idea what that was. Anyway, I want that known to anybody that's new, by the way. I won't. It's happened. And if I don't see it, my moderators are watching for it right now. If you are attacked because of an opinion, a theory, a feeling, you're gone. That's it. There's no, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. You're out. I just can't do it anymore. And I won't. There's too many good people in here that have the right to their own opinions. Period. Exactly, Elliot. I remember seeing that. Yeah. And we went and did a family search on the remaining or the roommates, and it was weird. And I'm not saying that this means anything, but we found that Bethany Funk has family all around where Brian's family lives, all around him within a 10-mile radius. It was weird. And I mean, I wasn't trying to put anything together with it. I was just curious, and it was interesting. That's the big thing too. I was God, are you reading my mind, Sherry, or what? In the notes. That was one of the big things I was just getting ready to speak on, is the thing that she can't finish that alibi without the full cast. And it should be the truth. And I was curious about that. So I'm wondering why that is a thing. Okay. I wrote that down here as one of my questions. Why do you need to have is Eddie in here? I know he was taking a break for a while. I wish he was in here. Did you misunderstand me? Don't dive or something? Eddie was just taking a break from this altogether, not from me. He wasn't shipped out of here or anything like that. He's just taking a break from the internet altogether, is what my understanding was. I've been looking for him for well over a month, and I just got the message yesterday that he was just taking a break. So
good for him.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with me in general or me specifically. I want him here, so I hope you didn't misunderstand what I was saying.
Twizzle said he thinks that she's saying that she needs a break too. Why is there an echo?
You're gonna follow Eddie. He was well, he'll be back. He's from my understanding, he'll be on his back, on his way back. On his back. Yeah, that's cute. Sorry if you can hear me, bud. Yeah, I can't wait till he does come back because I really want to pick his brain for some of this stuff. Let me check here.
Hmm?
I'm reading the oh, he won't be? Why? Says what? What are you talking about? The last message I got was that he was just taking a break from all of this because it was probably too much for him. I don't know. The alibi thing, I agree with that, Stitches. I do.
No, Kels.
No, Kels. No, I told you earlier it was cool.
Mm-hmm. Really? Do you hear an echo?
Me?
I hear an echo when I talk.
I don't.
Hmm.
Well, if it's creeping you out, Kels, then it's your icon. Echo.
Echo. Okay, I'm gonna go out and I'll be right back.
Okay. What happened? Can't Angel. Where'd you go? She was there and then she wasn't. Maybe she's going all the way out and coming back in. Okay, somebody sent me an email. I gotta check it real quick too. Hold on. Do we think the x-rays may pertain to the rumors of one or more having blunt force? It could, very well could. And that could be part of what the defense needs because of proof, for certain things. Thank you. Hello?
Hello?
I don't hear an echo.
Can you guys hear an echo?
I see a bunch of no's, no echo. Sakura, hello.
Hmm.
Hear it
Okay.
slightly when you start talking, but it goes, am I turned up too loud for you? Is that what it is, maybe? And you're coming back through my speakers?
Maybe.
Let me turn my mic down a little bit and see if that changes things. It's very windy up here, Stitches. Okay, which one of you guys are the ones that sent me the email? I'm sorry, I can't remember. No echo. Okay, maybe that helped it then.
Do
And
it.
oh, that was my mother-in-law bringing me something. Sorry. Was that Heather Fitzgerald? Fitzgerald? Excuse me. I got that, but hold on. All right, give me a second here.
Yeah, I'm glad all that tornado stuff was north. Well, it was like Chicago and Dago's area. It went right over me. Phew. Aw,
You're putting on a great show today, Mama Bear.
I
Hi,
know.
guys. I'm over here. Hi, how are you? I'm not doing anything. I know. I'm just sitting here
Nothing. Yeah.
looking like a ghost because the white on my is red
Oh my
on
goodness.
my face. That's better.
Just there. Is that better?
Stay down here, and I'm gonna look for stuff. Did somebody answer me about the email? Who sent the email? Stop doing that.
I didn't do anything. Now you're doing it. Just to do it. Bye, War Eagle. Talk to you later, hon. He's ready next. Me and Brent. He kicked himself off. I put him back up there. Hello, Miss Lily. Okay, that makes more sense, Kels. I was like, what?
I'm back.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh, come on, big baby. Jeez. I don't know who that is. I don't know if that's a compliment, Wheelby, or not. Yeah, he's pouting. You miss Dago being a big baby. Was what real life? If you're talking, nobody can hear you because you're not up here.
they can still hear me.
I couldn't
They
hear
can't
you.
hear me when I'm not up here.
I couldn't hear you, so.
Oh, I thought you guys could hear me as long as I was still.
Well, that's what you get for thinking.
Oh, the hearing. Yes, it was real. It was real life, Heather. I don't see the email.
Oh, Brady, don't you poor Dago nothing. You're the first one to tell me to kick him.
Oh, I'm not. I don't need no poor Dagos. I'm perfectly fine. We're just playing around.
Yeah.
I think she was being sarcastic anyway.
Yeah.
I don't see it.
Did you put your glasses back on?
I mean, no, there's nothing in there to see though. To be able to see, and I would then, but
All right, SRB. No problem, hun.
oh, thanks for being here, SRB. I appreciate you. Tell Cassie we said hi and have a good day.
Hello, Zelda.
Welcome, Zelda. Okay, there's nothing document dropped. I'm wondering if there's going to be docs tomorrow or the day after. Hey, Senny.
Alex.
There could have been more that came out of this. I am definitely glad.
Hey, Cindy.
Like I said, I'm very, very much glad that that Ann put it out there that what's going on. You know what I mean? She kind of put her foot down and said, listen, I need, when I say, hey, Carolyn, I need stuff. And when I say I need it, I don't need to ask again and again and again. That shouldn't be the way it is. And I agree with her on that. Okay, so with my notes, this TUI letter seems to be a big deal with this, like a lot about this case. That's a big one. Okay. I got all those dates that we got dates all over the place they have set for everything. I'm going to have to rewrite those in order, and they're probably going to change once things get hit or
Hi,
get dropped.
Caroline. And Gary and April Wine.
Good to see. Yeah, she was irritated highly. I agree with you, April. She sounded shaky when she was talking. I was a little weirded out in the beginning where they all were kind of smiling at each other. I was the judge and both the defense attorneys. I'm like, what's going on over here? But who knows? Maybe they were just smiling for the camera. Police procedures, FBI unnamed. The state objects to. Yeah, the investigative team. I feel that that's another issue that was talked about. That the vintage lighting. What are you talking about, Doodle? I just lost my train of thought. Where did it go?
It's all Doodle's fault.
She distracts me all the time. Oh, we all heard multiple times, not just today, but again today multiple times. Oh yeah, I have an old lamp next to me right here. That's why. That they cannot look at this PCA discovery, any of this stuff, and see how that the state got to Brian Kohberger. That's the question of the year. Okay. And of course, the woman that works for the state that I don't like, I can't think of her name. I just don't like her for some reason. I don't know why. Something about her irks me. Says that she doesn't understand why that's an issue. Well, obviously, Anne is stating that she doesn't have everything she should have or needs. Okay. That's a problem. And they deserve that. They should have access to everything that they're deserving of. This is, again, a death penalty case. And I think that I will say this, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but I think that Judge is being what's the word I'm trying to think of here? Unrealistic. He keeps going back to the fact that he doesn't want to see this case, the trial being set in 2025. Well, I mean, that's not that unrealistic to me. Multiple people in here and multiple people, period, have stated it's not unrealistic to see a death penalty case take 2 to 3 or 3 to 4 to 5 years. The blonde one, Kat, I don't care for her for the prosecution. I don't like her. I don't know why either. There's something about her that just irks the hell out of me. AT wants the full cellular tower data because she can't prove that BK's other phone places him nowhere near 1122 King Road. I think that might have something to do with some of that. I can say that's not your fault, Doodle.
Hey, Phantasmic. Hey, Dahlia.
What's up, Phantasmic? Mittens for mittens. Oh, what happened here? Me Too Zoom or Me Too Dago. Is she the one who was on Zoom for the last hearing who just stared into the? Yeah, I think that's who that was. I agree. I don't care for her. Sorry. Something about her just really does not make me happy. 2026, summer reasonable, no excuses. I agree with that, Lou. I would think at the very latest, yeah. Is Phantasmic in here?
Yep.
Phantasmic Ether.
Did that go through?
Yes, it did.
Good. And yeah, Rizzo, because then we have the appeal process if he were to be convicted or whatever. So it could go on for years upon years upon years. Miss Zelda says it sounded to me more. I think that was one word she put together, 2 words she put together as one. To me, or like the prosecutor was saying they wanted to know it so they could make an alibi to accommodate the evidence instead of just telling the truth. You know, I think that's what Sherry was referring to too. That's what I'm curious about.
Hey, you.
And I think that the prosecution stood up and addressed it as that as well. That they don't understand why you need to wait for that to have the alibi, the rest of the alibi. That's shady to me on the defensive side. That's one thing that they did today that was shady to me. Why do you need that full, unless there's a strategy with this? I don't know. But like I said, with the judge, along with the judge, I thought that was the full alibi. I didn't know that they were making them add to that. Okay. I'm here. She's not. Good. I'm glad to hear that. Phantasmic. Does anybody want to jump up here with us and voice their opinions, their feelings, or anything? Please. Yes, no, maybe so. You're welcome to. Oh, wow. This came out of Reddit. Jennifer sent me an email that's interesting as hell. The town without a soul. Good Lord. So this is a Reddit post. you guys. Look at this. For those of you that cannot see this, the town without a soul. In 2017, I was drugged and essayed by an employee of the Latah County Sheriff's Office in Moscow, Idaho, and another man. I repeatedly tried to report this to Moscow Police Department and Gritman Medical Center, ER. I have been harassed, laughed at, bullied, assaulted, lied to, and lied about, and numerous other misconducts, and I currently still am by MPD. Their gross negligence is inexcusable and unethical. Gritman Medical Center, excuse me, also failed to report or assist me in any way when I reported that I was essayed in their ER not once but multiple times when I was trying to deal with the situation. And after failing to get a response from the police, I had hoped that of the hospital reported it to them that maybe this would get a response, and it did not. Wow. That's really sad and sick. I wonder if we could find out who or where that came from. That would be interesting. Gritman was also the medical center where the two frat guys allegedly went to for help early in the morning. Yeah, that's what I had heard. You're already okay, Heather. Keep me informed if you can. I'll be looking myself. Thank you. Still bothers me. I've seen charges drop due to proof of an alibi before trial date. That's interesting. Yeah, I agree on that, Sherry. No, they're not. That's the problem they're running into, Bobby, is nobody's talking to them. That was one of the biggest things that set out to me. If they had him on camera, the prosecution wouldn't be worried about him coming up with an alibi. Therefore, they don't have him on camera at 11:22. I was kind of wondering that, you. Imagine having to describe everywhere you drove on a random joyride over 6 weeks ago. Having the information regarding your phone would help you to remember where you went and when. Yeah, that's interesting. She does? Heather? Where? I was interested to hear Ann say that something about unless they have him on camera, which they may, and I just may not have seen it yet, which that was an interesting comment to me. I'll say that for sure. That's been brought up before, Angel. I don't know. I'm not going to say yes or no because I have no clear cut concrete proof on that. Do you have the full post, Heather? Because I've only gotten that little clip of it. That's what I'm saying. That's the thing right there, Dreamer. If she stated that multiple times in different hearings that their people aren't talking to him or talking to them, maybe that's what the judge needs to do is subpoena these people and force them to talk. You know what I'm saying? The post is 2 years old and still up. Where did you guys find this at on Reddit? Because I don't really go on there very often, but I want to read this. Thank you, Heather. It does. It does. I agree with that one. Ether, it does have a lot of the same coattails as Truckee and the Kylie Rodney issue where nobody would talk about anything. Thank you, Heather. 1 second, folks. Let me check something here. Okay. Okay, hold on a minute. Okay, I found it. Thank you, Heather. Yeah, that's true. That is very true. They do have to have an alibi to use the alibi defense. That's fact, folks. Miss Sherry knows this stuff because she worked for the court systems, and that's absolute fact. I read that and that's everywhere, anywhere. That's not just in specific states. All right, this is the full post from Reddit, and this isn't 4chan, folks. This is Reddit, so it's a little bit more. How can you put it? Reliable, I guess you could say. So
Well, it might be more reliable than 4chan, but I don't know how reliable it is.
I'm not saying that it's the best thing. It's just a little bit more. I do agree, though. I can't say that Reddit is the best source, but when I was trying to deal with this situation after failing to get a response from the police, I had hoped that one of the hospital reported to them. Maybe this would get a response. It did not. The hospital did not report this to the police, despite my repeated attempts. I emailed the chief of police, Chief Bryan, told him that I was SA'd by Ethan Ogden and that I have been trying to report this for years. And hold on a minute.
Hey, Clue.
Oh, what's up, Clue?
I could agree with that too. You.
The fact that it was from before the crimes definitely adds. That's my thought right there. Because it happened beforehand, that makes definitely more validity in my opinion. Hold on a minute. But I've been trying to report this for years, and why can't I do this? Jesus, hold on, guys. Okay, that's better. Where the hell did it go now?
Oh, good
I
Lord.
can't keep my head on my shoulders. There we are. Sorry, everybody. And that his officers will not allow me to report it. He said that it is a county matter, so I would have to take it up with the county, and he would forward the information to the sheriff. He did not. That's not true. If you have an issue with a specific agency, you're supposed to go to a different agency to deal with it and have it dealt with in that sense internally. Yes, tell a little clue that I said happy birthday to her again, and thank you for stopping by. I appreciate you. Thank you, Zelda. I would have to take it up with the county, and he would forward the information to the sheriff. He did not, though. In fact, forward the information because I had talked to the sheriff a few months later and told him everything, and he said, "Ma'am, this is the first I have ever heard any of this, and I am very sorry. I now have the Idaho State Police investigating this, and it has been taken completely out of Latah County and Moscow, Idaho. But this is only a tip of the story. I don't know how much room I have here, but if anyone wants to know more, I genuinely want to tell my story. So I can make a new post and tell the rest. Let me know. And if anyone has any good advice, please tell me because I feel absolutely traumatized by every single part of this situation. I cry every day because of what happened and what is still happening. I do not feel safe in my home or in this town at all. The police will not leave me alone. They sit outside my apartment in the middle of the night, follow me places, all kinds of creepy things, and the guys that did this to me are still working for the sheriff's office and out in the community. And they know where I live. I do not feel safe and I cannot leave this town for at least one more year. I am trying to get a car so I can leave and then I am never looking back. Damn.
Hey, Walt, Jessica, Norma. Thanks for being here, guys.
That's horrific. I'd like to have a conversation with this lady. Hmm. A weight loss commercial. We're gonna have to get together,
Wow.
Heather.
Hey, little shredder. Hey, Norma, we're talking about Idaho. You're probably right, Michelle. Okay, Heather.
What's up?
She's got to run to the grocery store, but she'll be back when she's home.
Oh, okay. Be safe.
Little Shredder said a year ago she commented saying her case was being investigated by ISP. Oh, you're welcome, hon. Hey, Miss Dakota. Thank you, Zelda. What are you doing over there?
Typing something. I'm sorry. 1 second.
And if he was, you can't blame him. It was frustrating.
What's up?
I think it's Megan. I'm not sure which way you pronounced it. Said, anybody else think Brian looked PO'd leaving courtroom? Can't blame him, though.
A little bit, yeah. Thank you, Zelda.
Shredders said, if you go to the username, you can view comments she has made in any sub.
Yes, I did. I don't see. I was looking for your email earlier, Norma. Hold on here. I don't see it. Let me see. Or was it through the sliding glass? That one?
Hey, Eve Lucky.
No, I see it here. I do see it here. Thank you, Norma. I do definitely see it now. Phantasma, thank you very much. God bless you, dear. I appreciate that. Thank you, anybody, by the way, that has donated in any way, shape, or form to those links that we put up there. It's very much appreciated. Megan says, any opinions on the leaked Steve Gonsalves Brad Norton text? I do have some thoughts on that. But again, I don't want to come out and I don't want to put Steve in a bad light at all. And that is definitely not something I'm going to do. I don't see anything he said or done in a bad way. And as I stated before, we talked about this last week, I think. My thoughts on that are that Steve Gonsalves, it is definitely Norma. No, I saw that now. My thoughts on that is that Steve's emotions have been walking in front of him through this whole thing. Okay. And he's doing everything that any parent would do, any father would do, I would do. I would be the same person, and he wants the truth. And anybody that were to reach out to him and say, I have information on this, I think I can help you on this, I don't blame him for being all over that. I don't think he's trying to cause any problems within the case. I think he just wants the truth. He just wants to know who did this to his child. 100%, I believe that. In turn, I think it has in some ways, yes, caused some problems. I'm not saying he did that. I'm just saying. Jennifer, thank you for sending me that Reddit thing, by the way. That I really appreciate that. 1 second here. I'm trying to pull this up again. I think it's very interesting what some of those comments say. Okay. Hold on a minute here. Let me see if this is what. In this clip a while ago, you can hear Steve say that he didn't have to come upstairs and listen afterwards when he said Kaylee dialed 911, but she didn't say anything about being hurt or needing help. He's saying that she called 911 that night. I know they Said a call came in around 3 a.m. when they caught the boys walking, gave them a citation. Also listened to Steve say something to the effect that, "Are you sure he's the only one? Because we all have more than one kin person who goes to the same school." I sent it to Daniel, but he doesn't want to see anything I send or says it's something else. But in the clip, you hear him say that he knows more than he's telling. Yes, I remember that. And it's when he was mad at Ellie not giving him information on what they were doing. And how does he know that Brian is sitting somewhere watching them? If it's a gag order out, certain things they seem to know about now, but it couldn't have come from the police or anyone like that because of the gag order. It's in the interview. He says that. Yes. Yeah, I remember that. And I thought that was very interesting. Norma, very interesting. I need to look into that more myself personally because that was very, very interesting to me. For sure. Okay. It was a year ago when he was going to different media outlets because he was afraid of the case going cold. He said that himself. I remember. I do remember. Good catch, Norma. Very good catch. And yes, it's very interesting to me. I agree. He couldn't wait to get out of there. That's the only part of the whole thing. Yeah. Well, they're always busy, so that's probably why. What's up, Twizzle? Good to see you back. Thank you, Lil Shredder. Miss Dakota. You still here, Mama?
Yep.
Don't fall asleep on me now. Okay. All right, guys. So at this point, like, I'm curious. Oh, wait a minute. It was annoying when Brett was talking crap about Sleuthie exposing her own messages. I agree with you on that. Nobody has anything. Nobody has any right to say anything about Sleuthie, as far as I'm concerned. And
Right.
I will defend Sleuthie to the death. I'm telling you right now.
Yep.
Anybody that comes at me with issues with Sleuthie, we're gonna fight verbally, obviously, because Sleuthie is an awesome person. She's very good at what she does, and she's 100% real. I will have her back from the beginning to the end in everything, folks. I'm just telling you. Period. I will always have her back on everything. That email provided by Steve doesn't come back to him. That's interesting. Thank you, Heather. I'm gonna have to hire Miss Heather here. I've been thinking about that anyway. Yes, Sleuthie is amazing. Thank you.
That's a loaded question.
Huh? What you
Little,
talking about?
Little Shredder wants to know, who is Brett Norton? I said that's a loaded question.
Brat is a TikToker. She was on the cyber sleuth thing that was put out from okay, guys, help me out here. What do you think on that, Bear?
So, I responded.
I mean, okay, or like yes,
Yeah.
yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Cool. Cool. Good. Good. Good.
What were you saying about Brat?
Oh, I'm sorry. Jesus, I'm so all over the place today. Brat
Mhm.
is a TikToker that is the one that was on the Cyber Sleuth thing that was done by Paramount Plus.
Oh, yeah.
That's
I
who
was like,
she is.
I don't tic-tac-toe.
Who what?
Little Strider said, "Oh, gotcha. I don't tic-tac-toe."
Mm-hmm. The 911 statement was very early in the case, but the Ellie showed up at the other house where someone was looking in the window, right? I remember that too.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
She
Right.
popped up on YouTube in early July to talk about the Linda Lane footage and eventually to introduce a fictitious figure named Dot. Sherry, what are you doing?
Holy
Anything else?
moly.
The video. Oops, video. What?
Holy moly. Holy moly.
Holy moly, what?
I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah, the rights thing is true. I agree with that. And proof is what goes on with the IgG stuff. That's why I was trying to show like the scientific side to the IgG stuff. That we'll probably be getting into more kind of stuff like that when we do deal with Idaho stuff, because there's really nothing else to look at until we find something else to look at. Is Heather back in here? Fitzgerald yet? Fitzgerald, sorry.
I don't think so. I don't think you can run to the grocery store that fast.
Okay, I didn't know if she had jumped back in here or not yet or not. That's all. Oh, I knew what you meant, Cherry. No big deal. I've seen one of those Twizzle. One of those videos is quite interesting. Oh, you haven't gotten out the door yet. Okay. Well, there you go, Miss Heather. Welcome aboard and thank you for everything that you do in here. I appreciate you very much.
Congratulations, Heather.
It's been a thought for a while. We're short some peeps too, so it'll help that way. I can't believe Steve didn't see through her. I'm very smart and intuitive. You know, that's the one thing I will say. I was a little bit kind of surprised that those conversations happened. I'm sorry.
Hello, Leslie. Peepertons? Was Brat is Brat blonde?
Depends on whatever day of the week it is. She
I-
kinda. She was like, I think. What do you guys? They like highlights or something?
I don't
Or low lights.
remember
Like she had
what
like
she
little
looked like.
blonde and dark mixture. I don't know how to explain that. I'm sorry. She was no. You're talking about Moonlit. You're talking about the TikTok. The other TikToker was completely like bleach blonde. Brat's hair was like multicolored. Yeah, like a dirty blonde. I think it was like a light brown, medium brown with like blonde highlights, I think. Thank you. I don't know how to describe it, and I don't want to sound crazy.
Or
So, do any of you guys have any specific comments, thoughts, like intuition or anything like that in regards to what we've seen today, for instance? Okay. God, this day's going by quick. I'm gonna be right back in here because I want to end this soon. Angel, I got you. I wonder if some of the characters from the many Idaho 4 YouTube dramas will be called as witnesses. That's interesting, Risso. Very interesting. Lethal injection fail. Yeah, I saw that. Libra's Moon. There's supposed to be I can't remember his name, but he was supposed to be put to death, and it didn't work.
and I don't get that. How did it not work? Just
From my understanding, what I was told is that they couldn't get a vein to start an IV on him, which is how they do that. And
yeah.
that's kind of strange to me.
Yeah.
I would think you
I'm
would
saying.
check that way before you have to do the
Yeah.
thing. You know what I mean?
And it's not like you only have the veins in your arms. If you can't get those, you should be able to get others. I mean, if it was that important to them,
Somewhere. Yeah, I agree.
slap harder. That's right,
I
Angel.
mean, when we would start IVs like in the squad or something like that, if
Oh
you
my God.
can't, he might be dehydrated purposely. Okay,
Yeah.
because if you dehydrate, your veins kind of go away. It's hard to get a vein.
Yeah.
But you can try arms, hands, ankles, or not ankles, but like your
You
feet,
can do top of the feet. I've done that.
anywhere. You can try it anywhere, guys. So it
Back
almost
of the
sounds like this
hands.
guy may have purposely dehydrated himself, which they should be watching that. So it's weird.
I've had a doctor do it from the neck. That was
Yeah, you can
creepy.
do it
But
in your neck. I had one when I had my brain surgery. I had one here. I have a scar from your feet, everything.
yep.
Hey, cat lady, good to see you today. It takes
Hmm.
all it takes is for signs of a struggle to halt the execute. Oh, okay. I've never paid much attention to those because I was never a big fan of the death penalty. First, you know what I mean. So I never really like watched anything on it. But yeah, they're not supposed to suffer. I understand. I guess I don't know. I'm torn on that scenario at this point.
Yeah, moonlit the neck. It's usually the last resort.
What'd you say?
She said, OMG, the neck? And I was like, yeah, the neck, but that's usually like last resort.
Well, when I had
Well, your surgery, but that's
what the
different.
hell? I can't remember what side it's on. When I had this done,
Mhm.
I had a big one right here. The scars right here. It was right here. And I had one here and one here. I had 3 IVs because of different things. I don't know. I think because of the stuff they were giving me, they said could blow out vein. And this one was a main because of what they had to do. It affected my arteries and my veins. So the way it was explained to me.
Probably just had to circulate the blood to keep the oxygen flowing so you didn't come out with brain damage.
Let me see
More
how
so
well that
than
worked, right?
I was gonna say more so than
I
Hey
knew there was
Cassie.
someone. What's up, Cass? Good to see you, dear. Hello. I miss her
Speaking
saying
of
that word.
death penalty, did you hear about the one where they used that new method? I can't remember what state it was in.
Mm-mm.
Oxygen deprivation, something.
What?
Yeah, I'll have to look it up.
Oxygen deprivation.
Yeah,
That sounds like torture.
yeah. Let me see if I can. I swear I'm not crazy. Let me see if I can find it.
I guess so, cat lady. That's crazy. A central line, yes, Janet. That's what that's called.
So it was in Alabama. The convict was Kenneth Smith, who held his breath in vain as officials asphyxiated him with nitrogen gas. The first use of a new method of capital punishment since lethal injections began in the U.S. 4 decades ago.
Wow. Never heard of that. Yeah, we had the electric chair here too. And then they went to the lethal injection. And there was talk about them doing the firing squad thing here too. And something about a group of people that said it was inhumane to do that. Well, okay, this is why I'm torn. The people that end up on death row, typically the things they do are beyond inhumane. So it's kind of hard for me to, do you know what I'm saying? I
I
don't
mean,
know.
if they can say 100%, you know, they're guilty, then, but there's
Yeah,
so many that have been put to death that,
makes you wonder, doesn't it?
yeah.
I still believe that it's not corporal punishment, but the way they used to do things, okay, were, but the problem is they they didn't investigate things like they do now. Then it was just like, back in the old west, like, hey, Wild Bill, did you see Johnny shoot that guy? Uh-huh. Okay, you're going to the hanging. That's it. That's how it was done. You know what I mean? So now there's a lot more investigation done and stuff like that. That's my thought. But death capsule, that's different. That's definitely different.
Hmm.
I think anybody that does anything to a child, forget it. Anybody that does
Yeah.
anything to a woman, forget it. Just go, be done. Now, the circumstances have to be really, really proven. I think that's the problem. The guy who was one of the witnesses in the nitrous gas was recently said it was awful. I bet it was.
It took over 30 minutes.
It won't take 400 witnesses to show reasonable guilt for BK. I'm hoping that they can do something. I don't think all this needs to go on. Here's my thing. This is where I'm at with this, guys. Honestly, if Brian was the one that did this and the state is 100% positive that that's the guy, then do it. Show us what he did. Show us that he did this. Let's get through this and make the man pay for what he did. But if he's not, then she needs to prove that he's not. That's all there is to this. You know what I'm saying? That's all there is to this. And I was really surprised that the defense has that many witnesses and that the state doesn't, That's a weird like ratio to think about. That's just my thought. This was an interesting hearing for sure, and a great show. Great show for sure today. Exactly. And if they were confident, the defense would have all evidence. And that's the thing that catches my attention today, mostly, but it's been said multiple times. I see people going after the prosecution and going after Bill Thompson, this and that, and everything else. Guys, I don't blame Bill Thompson. I don't have any angst towards the man. I think he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. And I'll tell you why. Because Ann Taylor says that he is. Okay. I think Bill's doing the best he can do, but he's not getting it as they stated from these other agencies. That's where the questioning needs to come into play. Why? Why are these other agencies not handing over discovery to the state to hand over to them? That's where the problem is. And I don't understand that.
Hey, happy hounds.
Yeah, exactly, SRB. It's really not. Ann has said that multiple times now. It's not Mr. Thompson and it's not the state. It is, these other agencies that are not giving what the state is asking for, and it's taking forever. That's the question right there. Unless he's hiding it somehow, which I don't believe. It's not that. What is this here? If it's all kosher, give it up to the prosecution. Stop forcing them to have to make excuses for why the defense shouldn't get things they are legally owed. That's a good point. That's the question. That's what makes everybody question the FBI and Moscow PD and the ISP and Latah County, all of that stuff. That's what makes that that's why people are questioning it, okay? Because it's making all these agencies look bad. If you're not holding anything back for any reasons, if you're not hiding anything, then just give it up and let this move on, the best way you can. They're not doing it. I want to know why.
Hey, Simply Solo.
Welcome to everybody that's just jumped in.
Yep.
I agree. They did state in the beginning that this was a multiple criminal investigation. Well, that's true too.
Hey.
That's a question I've had on and off, and maybe it's because of my understanding of it, but how does the PCA reference a cast report that still does not completely exist? There's pieces of it. It's not a full report. So how do they reference that in the PCA? I don't understand that myself. They said too, with the FBI, was giving them information through a portal, and they shut it down afterwards, and it's lost now. Right. Well, it's not even the state, Joanne, that's withholding it. Like I said, the cast report it's not from the state. It's coming from the cast report was done by Payne, shown by the people that do it. That's how that was explained, which I think is ridiculous, but that's how it was explained in the document. So that shouldn't be an issue. The cast report should have been done a long time ago. I don't know why that's such a hard thing to finish up. Okay. And that's what's coming out of this. Okay. Now I do agree. Sherry made a comment like a long time ago, and I questioned it in my notes myself when she said that she was waiting on that to come back to finish the alibi. Why? That was something I questioned.
All right, Liz City. Thanks for being here, sweetheart.
Good to see you, Liz. I'll be here live again, guys, at 8:30.
It's almost 7 now, dude.
I know. I'm gonna have to end this. To cover that other case, the Amish woman that was found deceased.
Yeah.
So 8:30, 8:45. But
Oh my goodness.
They're fighting. I see them playing in the back.
You see him behind me?
Yep. Check
It's
them out.
hilarious.
Is that Groucho or
No, that's Bean and
like,
Ghost.
Get away. Get away.
Yeah. Let me turn the light on. You can see him
So-
better.
I think that's probably going to do. We'll be back on this, guys. There's going to be some documents that are going to be dropped within the next day or so, I would imagine. So we will be back in here talking about this. We've got a lot of Delphi stuff coming up too. Tonight I'll be live 8:30, 8:45 to talk about this other case that just happened. That's interesting to me for a lot of reasons. They found an Amish woman in her early 20s that was pregnant, deceased in her own home in an Amish community, which is very strange. The husband came home and found her supposedly, so we're going to be covering that one too. There he is, Bean the cat.
Mm-hmm.
So, he's just walking back and forth. Here I am. Do you see me?
Yep.
They just found a lady here at the lake unalived. Whoa. Crazy, Teresa. There really are, April. That's what I'm going to touch on a little bit because I found another case from a year ago. It's the same thing. There's a lot
Did
that
you
goes.
see the one I sent you last night about the what was it, 24-year-old guy that had the 2 teenage girls in Delphi?
Yeah, I did.
That I was like, oh!
I sent that directly over to Salty, and she was like, "Wow." So
Yeah.
yeah, that's true too. That's a good point, guys. To look at that, what she's saying. The BCA is not a full report itself; it's a summarization of that report. So understand that.
Mm.
All right, guys. I think that's going to do it for right now. I will be here 8:30, 8:45 Eastern Standard Time. For those of you that aren't familiar with the times, then the time changes. So for everybody else, that would be 3 hours difference.
I don't know. I'm
Pacific. I
tired.
think Pacific time is 3 hours. I think Mountain time. I can't remember. I'll have it listed. It'll be up, guys, for you to see. And I'll tell you when. But thank you guys so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you guys so very much. Mods, you are amazing. Very, very, very amazing. Thank you for everything you do, Mama Bear. I was super happy to have you here, as
I was
always.
glad to be here.
And my understanding is you have Thursday and Fridays available too today, this week, maybe.
Probably Friday. Tomorrow I have to work some, but I don't think I have to work very late. So
Cool.
I should be home like 2 or 3, something like that again. So
Very good. Very good. That's true too. Thank you. The Murdoch
okay.
cast report did not come fully until 2 weeks before the trial. That's very true. These are good points, everybody. Thank you, Sherry. Guys, much appreciated. Everybody, you guys, for supporting myself, my channel, Mama Bear, and every bit of this, guys. You guys are amazing. I love you all to death. I appreciate each and every one of you. Don't forget to love yourselves and love each other. And don't change a thing about yourselves because you are the beautiful people. And I will see you all very soon. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. I will hopefully maybe see you tomorrow. Otherwise, I will probably see you Friday. Have a good night. Anybody that subbed to my channel, I want to say thank you. I appreciate it. And I love y'all. Night, night.
Yes, thank you guys for that. Please, if you haven't, check out Mama Bear's channel. Hopefully, we will be doing more over there soon.
Hopefully.
See you guys soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye. I mean.